Good evening, chat. Hello. It is Friday night, and it is interesting. Let me tell you, Russell Greer is literally imploding. I think what we need to understand with the Russell Greer case now is I think Matthew Harden is basically laying out a blueprint for the future that anybody who gets sued by Russell Greer just come here, yank all the exhibits, and go submit. Wow, because I will say, Mr. Harden and I talked a little this week, and I was like, we discussed a little strategy. We're gonna do that. Crystal, how are you doing? Since it's Saturday morning, you're late. Well, Safa. And holy shit, there is a lot here we got to get to first. Jelly Jerome for 10 pounds sterling. The King Sterling says, Sneed. Well, thank you, sir. And I this is the problem because YouTube switched everybody's names up here. Thank you. Thank you for being here. EDW Raptor for $10 says Encope. It's like peanut butter and jelly. You can't have the cope without the Sneed. And still, I gotta find where it is, but there was a guy here in my area was running for one of the local city councils, and his last name was Sneed. And I sent it to Null. I was like, "Do you want me to get a sign for you? Because it said Sneed, the man we need." Indeed, and I was like, "It's not." I didn't get to vote for him though, sadly, because it wasn't my town. I was like, "Shit." Useful mistake with 10 subs. Fuck it, starting it out strong. EDW Raptor with 10 subs. A bibliophile of 5 subs. And chat, remember, when you do this, you help make America green again. You're helping pray the gray away. And what are the grays remembering?
See this? That means not welcome.
That's right, chat. Not welcome. Although you're like, why is your hair? I'm like, my hair stays strong, even though it's gray. Then we got the Mark Green experience with 50 subs. Holy shit, chat. Wow. Thank all of you guys so far for your generosity and everything. But Mark, holy shit, man. Thank you. Thank you for your support tonight. I appreciate it. This is going to be a fun one. And there's not a big enough a woo for you, but I mean,
was this story based? Yes.
Absolutely based. Absolutely based. And yeah, you get in a woo for that too, sir. Speaking of that, Clyde is not here. Clyde's with Bonbon and they're playing and hanging out with 2.0. So maybe I'll get Clyde in a minute. I don't know. If he does, I'll bring him in here. But thank you so much for your support. 50 fucking subs, man. That's the generosity and support you guys share and show. It's every time. It's still humbling. So thank you. Thank you so very much. Thank you. I'm a half retarded monkey that wears pants. That's all I am at the end of the day. Thank you so much, Mark. The Amateur Iconoclast for 1 sub. Johan for 5 subs. Thank you, Johan, for your support. And a Goon Every Day says, crazy YouTube straight up shadow banned certain accounts being given memberships. So it's something, and I don't understand how this gets set up, but apparently you set up your Google account as a brand account or your YouTube account as a brand account. Therefore, you can't get subs. I don't know. It's a really weird thing. I looked it up once because we were having problems in the beginning. And it's something weird like that. I don't know. Sorry. So can't help you. Edward Scott says, Mr. Blogger, how do you respond to the allegations when you are late for streams? You and the mods are really eating Snickers upside down for the veiny texture. I mean, I don't just do that when I'm late. It's always the way you should enjoy a Snickers. And a Twix. I don't know what the mods do. I'm only worried about me. I'm too busy worrying about me. Chugi Show is saying for $4.99. Leighton sending a cease and desist to Grok to stop saying Nick is the fattest because duh. Well, yeah, that was a little awkward watching that. And then EDW Raptor for 5 subs, chat. Let's fucking go. We got 157 people here. Let's get rolling. The GM saying YouTube made your account a brand account somehow. Yeah, I don't know. Agbound Chemist says Army and Navy is tomorrow. Yes, it is. And yes, James Reed, I agree. Please like the stream. You know, that is a awesome way to help things out. You also don't get subs if you've ever been hidden. Really? And then Sellers is saying YouTube automatically set up super old accounts before the Gmail merge to be brand accounts. Interesting. Then KLF says to change your handle, go to YouTube Studio, then customize channel under your avatar, scroll down to name, then handle, and change those that what you want to see. So there you go, chat. That's how you fix it. When am I going to cover? When are you going to cover / live stream a trial? Well, after the Takia King one, we've got one. Like I said, I wanted to show you guys like a basic bitch murder trial, and like I said, it's one out of Atlanta. We're going to show here. Not next week. I'm very busy next week, but it'll be the week after, like kind of in that weekend. So next weekend, getting the lead up to Christmas, we're going to watch just guy Ken basically in Atlanta. Dude in Atlanta gets shot in the hood, and it's like, who done it? It's actually pretty good. We'll take a look at it. Are there any cases on the radar for 2026? Tyler Robinson's going to be one. Courtney Clenny's one. Those are really some of the bigger things that are out there. Some of this stuff, some of these lawsuits that are brewing, like the Anti-Hero podcast, one with Rob O'Neill. Dan Crenshaw suing Sean Ryan, which is funny because that's like 2 glowy seals. Although I don't think Dan Crenshaw did the GRS stuff like Sean Ryan did, but now you have like more seals suing each other. There's all kinds of cool stuff out there that's brewing. We'll take a look at that. You need Bon proof of life. I don't know right now. She's terrorizing a cat, so I'm not going to get her. And ED Devraptor says, we hit the goal. Russell Greer's getting laid. I don't know about that. All right, guys. So let's get going. All right. Let's get started here. So remember, guys, we are dealing with the Ethan Kline lawsuit against all the H3 Snark mods, but also primarily the ones against Denims, Frogan, and Casey Tron. Well, last week, and I covered this last week on a stream. Casey Tron, she tapped out. She tapped out. She couldn't take it. She couldn't take it anymore. And Casey Tron bowed out. Now, we're just going to watch just a brief second of this. If you guys have seen it already, probably. And we're just going to just very quickly, cover it and just
opportunity
here. So, Casey Tron had to come up and give this apology video. And this is how it works. You guys have seen these before with other lawsuits where somebody has to stand there and go, yes, hello, I am being well cared for. You're reading a script. But this is a, some people call it a hostage video. And when your ass is on the line, you do what you got to do. So let's get to where she does her thing here. Look, here it goes. Woo! It's time! And it's funny because if that's Casey, is that Casey? Oh, that's not Casey Tron's thing. That's somebody. Yeah, this itself is fucking hilariously apropos.
I take responsibility for infringing the content nuke. I want to begin by stating I take responsibility for infringing the content nuke. The lawsuit was not frivolous. When I said the lawsuit was frivolous and based on misogyny, it was to garner sympathy, protect my own reputation, and retaliate against the Klines. This lawsuit has given me a greater understanding of copyright protection, people's copyrights, and the importance of protecting copyrights in the online content creation community. It is important for the entire content creation community to respect the intellectual property rights of other creators, and I will adhere to the lessons I've learned throughout this process going forward.
She learned something, I guess. But this is guys, this is normal. Ethan Kline said, here's what you're going to read. Her attorneys looked it over, and maybe they tweaked something. And this has all been approved by Ethan Kline. This is what unconditional surrender looks like. The terms, oh God, what movie is it where the it's just like a downfall. It's like, here are our terms, and no, we're not accepting those. Unconditional surrender only.
I also want to make clear that I did not receive any support, financial or otherwise, from Hassan Piker. Hassan never even reached out to me privately to offer words of support. Speaking honestly, I found his indifference to my suffering hurtful, especially after he hinted he might help me behind the scenes. It felt like he wanted to receive credit from the public for him helping.
And guys, this is something I mentioned before. Ethan Kline can be going after people for a multitude of reasons, and they're all valid and legal. You know, this is a lawsuit for copyright, but he's going after everybody. And you know what? That's fine. Perfectly fine. Perfectly legal. The lawsuit is valid. And then if there's ulterior, secondary, tertiary objectives, great. And Ethan Kline is now going after Hassan. And this is fucking hilarious because Hassan's not helping. Imagine that. A socialist not sharing their money, not sharing the wealth, not assisting. I thought they were all about praxis and mutual aid and all that bread tube shit they talk about. Isn't it funny how that don't work when the bullets start flying? They ain't helping nobody. Isn't it weird? Isn't it weird?
In me without providing any. As to the GoFundMe money, to the extent there are any remaining funds after I pay my attorney's fees, I have agreed to pay the remaining funds to the Klines. The funds will not go to anyone else, including Denham's or Frogan, to defend their lawsuits.
That's gotta hurt so many people who have probably were conned into giving money to Casey Tron. All the Redditors, all the Hassan bros, all the simps for Casey Tron, giving her money, and it's just no refunds. Although it'd be funny if a bunch of them charged back in the meantime. Oh, that would be interesting. That would be interesting, but suffer commies.
For the record, I have agreed to cooperate with the Klines in their litigation against the H3 Snark mods for promoting my live stream to the extent that I am able. I will offer my support, including testifying under oath to everything I have just stated, to help their cause. I also want to take the opportunity to acknowledge other misconduct and bad behavior I have exhibited online. For example, weaponizing the death of Asmongold's mother was inexcusable.
Now, guys, you might say, well, why is this in here? You know what? This is just a list of grievances, and, you know, whether or not Ethan Kline and Asmongold are broskies, or whatever it was, because I know ultimately Asmongold said apology not accepted to this. Ethan Kline could get her to apologize for all kinds of things. Like, I'm surprised he didn't get her to apologize for ordering the 14th Battle of the Azanzo River. That's a real thing that happened. Google it. Like, she's like, it's my fault. I ordered the Admiralty to go forward with the landing at Gallipoli. It wasn't Churchill's shame to bear. It was mine. I'm just, all the things she's going forward on here. It's just, this is so amazing. She's like, I thought bombing Ploesti was a good idea. And I'm surprised she didn't have to do, God, think about the bong rip she had to do before she did this to get herself all calmed down.
I should know better because I have 3 disabled people that rely on me. Moving forward, I will do better. I also want to apologize to the crew of the H3 podcast, particularly AB and Olivia. I apologize for calling them cowards for not quitting their jobs. That was a shameful attack on 2 people who deeply care about Palestine and Palestinian people. AB, along with his wife Lena, have done more than I have ever done for the Palestinian people, including raising over $100,000 in charity.
Which it's funny she's acknowledging she's a slacktivist. I mean, that's part of the apology here, but yeah, you've been outed. They've raised money for the thing you keep talking about. Palestine. Remember, chat, it's a free Palestine. You get with the purchase of a Palestine of equal or greater value. And what did she do? She hasn't done shit. She hasn't done shit. She's like most of these people. In free Palestine, what have you done? Well, I mean, I will say, you know, it's a good thing they haven't done things, because most of these Palestinian charities end up being fronts for like Hamas. So there's that. I'm just saying.
I recognize that they have actually made Palestinian lives better, and my online antagonism and trolling has not. I apologize to Ethan and Gila personally. I have said extremely mean and cruel things about both of them, particularly my misogynistic attacks against Gila that never should have been said. I also want to acknowledge the...
That's not true at all. These are correct, true, and factual statements. It's not anything she says is irrelevant. These are statements now. And when she comes to court, yeah, her, you know, Denham's attorneys could say, well, you did this as part of your settlement. It's like, she's like, yeah, because I was wrong in what I did. So, not really. It's everything she says is irrelevant. That relevancy will be determined by a jury who will probably find it very credible.
Pervasive problem of anti-Semitism in leftist spaces. It should concern all of us. I condemn it and will not participate in it. To that end, I wish the client's success in enforcing TED Entertainment's copyright and protecting the legal rights of online content creators.
It really, and I think at the time there should have been like, somebody should Photoshop like Gila with her fucking rifle up in that JPEG. Oh, who made that? I think Sven Stoffels made that. This should be in the background where she's like back to Casey's head. So that would have been funny. Oh, you're saying then it's a retarded jury. I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to tell you. So, you know, it's going to be what it's going to be. So anyways, that happened. So we've got, you know, there were three pro-Palestinian bombers in the air. And the Jew AF from LA shot one down. Oh, yes. And the Jew AF from LA shot one down. Oh. So, yes, now we've got two pro-Palestinian bombers left in the air. Remember, as I said, Frogan's case has gone radio silent. She's months past any deadlines to respond, and there hasn't been a motion for default. Like I said, something is happening. I don't know what, but it's being worked on. Something's worked on. She's tapping out or something, because Ethan hasn't pounced on it, and given how his attorney has handled things so far, they would have pounced on it. I mean, any attorney would have pounced on it at this point. So who knows? Now, in response to all this, it was really funny. Denham's got all fired up about this. This was so hilarious. The cope from Denham's in response to this thing from Casey Tron. She says, you know, this is the brave Denham's once again naming yourself after jeans. Like, brilliant work. You know, this apology, which I can only assume was forced to extract a settlement, was painful to listen to. Yeah, I mean, it would be if I was in your position. It's absurd and ironic that Ethan accuses Hassan of being a puppeteer while LARPing as a comic book villain in this way. I mean, literally every lawsuit kind of ends like this. Well, it's unfortunate Ethan appears to have been able to exert control over her in this way. Remember, communists are all about exerting control. It's all about control and, you know, who has the power. I'm happy that Casey Tron was given the opportunity to minimize the harm to her family. This is a bit of an interesting thing here, and I don't know if Ethan and his attorneys are going this. But minimizing the risk, minimizing the harm to her family. What harm is there? If they're righteous and correct, there's no harm. Huh. You know, I that would be a great one and a thing there. That's because you know this lawsuit's bullshit. You know your defense is bullshit, don't you, Denims? Avoid the risk of losing your home. Well, if it's not copyright infringement, what's the risk? What's the risk? Huh. And move on from Ethan's lawsuit. Why? If you're the good people. It says, I want to make several things clear. She's doing the Barack Obama. Let me be clear. My trial date is 10/26/26. Okay? And I look forward to beating Ethan in court. You ain't going to. Well, Casey and likely Frogan have caved to Ethan. Yeah. Which is a decision I doubt they have made lightly. Well, why would they have made it at all if they're righteous? Settling like this is not an option for me. It's not an option for me because it would set a precedent that endangers the financial security of any streamer that creates reaction content. Notice she's not saying, I'm innocent of this. I did nothing wrong. And Ethan's a bully. Why wouldn't you just say that here? You're not saying that I'm fair use like a motherfucker. I don't know if your attorney helped you write this. I don't think they did. Once again, just like Destiny, don't go writing your own fucking little screeds out there, chat. Work with your attorney. If you create content that involves commenting on videos on Twitch or enjoy consuming reaction content, you should be on my side. If you don't believe me, please read ahead and let me convince you. I watched and reacted to Ethan's highly anticipated content shortly after it aired. Make no mistake, my coverage more than doubled Ethan's video in length. That's not a determinative factor ultimately on its own. Ethan's video spanned 104 minutes. I spent 230 minutes reacting to it, critiquing and commenting on his video and the content in it, during which I paused 210 times. That means I added 120% of runtime in the commentary, on average pausing every 30 seconds to add 36 seconds of commentary. It's not exactly how I remember it. This commentary length is substantially more than Asmongold or XQC or any of the other streamers and YouTubers that watch the content nuke. Okay, doesn't matter. Does not matter. Doesn't matter. Oh. This is just cope of all copes. As we know, Ethan decided not to sue Asmongold, XQC, or anyone other than the three of us. But he wouldn't sue them. They didn't intentionally try to deprive him of revenue, and you said yourself that you did. Yes! Yeah, you did. You did say that. This notion is frivolous and is a fabrication. Is it really? Ethan claims he's pursuing his claim against me only because of some claim malicious intent on my part. There are two streamers that Ethan falsely claims demonstrate my intent. Along with his conspiracy theory about collusion with Reddit moderators, none of whom I have ever communicated with. Ooh, you better hope so. I can only imagine what Casey Tron's got access to. And, more importantly, what does Frogan have? Ooh, child. Denims, you have to be careful. Ever, never, and always are dangerous words. Those are some of the most dangerous words in the English language, chat. Because if it's not correct, never, ever, and always are some of the most dangerous words. Most dangerous words. Whew. The first statement is a response to a chat message. I read it out. We're relying on you to stay live so we don't have to give the nuke views. Are you sure? I mean, it better be verbatim exactly like that. It seems weird you're just now coming up with this. Okay. And then replied, yeah, I'm going to stream it since he's confirmed it's coming out today. I'm going to stream it. So you're affirming the statement. You're affirming the statement, it sounds like, Denims. Sounds like you're adopting it as your own. I agree with that sentiment. Once again, I don't know why you do this right now, but hey, whatever. Since he's confirmed it's coming out today, I'm streaming. She's like, I hope this is self-evident. It's not. But it would be bizarre for me to take that opportunity to bring attention to this group of people and how they actually should watch his video on his channel. So you're acknowledging we're doing this so we don't have to give Ethan views. Thank you. You've confirmed Ethan's statement. Good job. Good job, Denims. Yes, with as much brain cells as a pile of denim. Like, I guess. Good job, Jeans. Really, like, you're acknowledging it. You're acknowledging it. It isn't my place. I don't care. And making a big deal out of it would only encourage the zealotry that Ethan is upset about. I merely acknowledged that I was going to react to it and moved on. Drawing a broader narrative based on a chat message I did not write is delusional. Not really. And it says the second statement is a throwaway shill comment I said after the video before signing off. Oh, so you're just shilling now. And it says, if you guys enjoyed not giving any views to that terrible video, follow, subscribe, and throw a prime if you like my content. It's just a throwaway comment. No. So when you want it to be, it's only a throwaway. Oh, no, Denims. Honey. Honey. It's not going to work like that. It's not going to work like that. Not going to work like that. Oh. Yeah, this is... Let me see here. Popcorn Pirate says, could Denim just offer to pay the $150K and be done? It's up to Ethan if he wants to. And I think he had just said it. Yeah. Ethan Kline gets to decide if he accepts the lawsuit or not. There is no... It's not his call. It's not her call. It's not her call. It is not her call to do. It's entirely Ethan's whether or not he settles. So, yeah, she's going to have fun with that. And she says, as an aside, this statement is factual. Well, I mean, is it a throwaway comment? But you're spending a lot of time expounding on it. If someone watched my coverage, they had no interest in watching Ethan's video without the addition of critical commentary and never would have. Well, now I'm sure it's so critical. Regardless, the statement does not characterize my intent. Well, that's not for you to decide. Not for you to decide. At most, you could say this is a mean-spirited comment and poor taste. Once again, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Why are you talking here? Why are you talking? Oh, my God. I don't know. I just don't know at this point. Oh. And she could say, making a joke it's too far and that Ethan Kline deserves more respect. We can agree to disagree. I don't know. Whatever. I humbly request we take this opportunity to question Ethan's framing of events and call a spade a spade. That is a very interesting use of a phrase from, like, the woke. It's kind of racist because, spade. Spade is, a derogatory term for black people. You call a spade a spade. Yeah. Ethan is bullying people who said things about him he did not like, and he can only do that because he has more money than them. Yes, that's how this works. That is how this works. This is a paper terrorism lawsuit that you let him file against you because you stabbed yourself in the foot. In doing so, in at least his lawsuit against me, he is setting a disastrous precedent for our corner of the internet. Nah, not really. Not really. And my hope is that others in our community follow with resources like Ethan's do not follow in his small footsteps. Donate to my legal fund. Every penny donated is gone exclusively to court costs and fees and will go nowhere else until you settle, which you probably will. As stated earlier, my trial date is 10/26/26. I look forward to beating Ethan in court. I deal with your assistance. Thank you for your attention to this matter. What the fuck kind of sign off is that? Oh, that is bad. That is bad. Oh. Anyway, that is Casey Tron. Now, moving on to what's going on here. The farms. And why did I put up the thumbnail as though the farms are being used to shield the Jannies? Oh, well, there's some interesting stuff that's happening here, guys. There's some interesting stuff. This is now we get into what's going on with the Jannies. You guys remember the Reddit Jannies, the H3 Snark Jannies, voluntarily joined this whole kerfuffle. And I said at the beginning this was really stupid because I think they were better off letting Reddit try to fight the lawsuit. Or I thought about it more since then. I think this is honestly Reddit was not going to fight it. So they were forced to do this. I don't really know for sure. But the Jannies hired their own counsel and they moved in. Yes, they have 4 lawyers, yes. Somebody's paying for this and I don't know who. But they're all, I mean, really, they're all from the same firm. But anyways, these guys, Cronenberger, Rosenfeld, just notice it, chat. Just take it all in. Just notice it. Are you noticing? Are you noticing? I think you should just notice a little bit more. Just notice it. Take it all in. So what is this? It's the Does, meaning the Jane and John Does, because they're unknown. They're anonymous now. For now. But Ethan Kline wants their identities because he wants to sue them for contributory copyright infringement. But we know ultimately what this is all about. Ethan Kline is on a vendetta ride. And he's using this lawsuit as a vehicle for gaining information. This lawsuit is an intelligence gathering operation. And remember, that's fine. He has a valid cause of action, and he can use this to gain information, gain knowledge. That's what he truly seeks. That is the currency he truly wants at this point. H3 is code for Hebrew, yes. Oh, so anyways, here we go. Now, this is the motion for administrative relief. And they want to submit additional evidence in support of their motion to quash the subpoenas to Reddit. I still think there's an issue about the third-party nature of this, that they're not Reddit, but I digress. I don't know how that's going to work here. I don't think that's really going to end things for it, but I think that's something, I don't know. For some reason, Ethan and his attorneys didn't bother. So what do they want to do? They want to quash the subpoenas and remove them. So they point out in the background, TEI is Ethan Kline. And they filed all lawsuits, all of which include the Does as defendants and allege they committed contributory copyright infringement. So they go through all of this. Ethan's seeking to unmask the Does on Reddit and Discord. In a case against a content creator named Denims. And then the ones at Casey, Tron, and Frogan. The Does, and that's not saying does, it's the Does, maintain the sole purpose is to unmask for perceived wrongs unrelated to copyright infringement. Except this case is about copyright infringement. Remember, the secondary and tertiary objectives. Okay, they're out there, but there are primary objectives here. So on December 1st, TEI and Casey Tron participated in court order mediation, which they did. The case settled as a Casey Tron. Ethan dismissed Casey Tron from the lawsuit, but not the Does. Yes, the Does are still alive in this lawsuit in Missouri. Casey Tron published an apology video claiming she did not commit copyright infringement and promised to help in its case to unmask the Does by providing testimony under oath. Yep. The Does seek the court's permission to introduce the apology video. That's not going to help you. TEI's reaction shows to the same, and to Denim's reaction to the video. Casey Tron's prior statements contradicting her statements in the video, including denying any involvement. Various other reactions to the apology video. That'd be hilarious if I'm in this. And 5, Denim's reaction to the apology video. Although they kind of already did that up here. So I'm like, whatever. Most of this evidence is not available at the time they filed their motion, so it could not have been introduced earlier. And that's fine. Look, Your Honor, new evidence has been brought to light. We wish to supplement the record. So, Casey Tron's Hasha-style video apology. Every lawsuit is like that. Every lawsuit has those. This happens all the time. It's all in the game, yo. To quote the great warrior poet of Baltimore, Omar Little, it is all in the game, yo. It is. And to quote Slim Charles, the game's the same. It just got more fierce. Now, what are they doing here? They emphasize TEI's interests well outside copyright protection underlying the lawsuits. And what they're arguing is all this other shit Ethan made her admit to clearly shows this isn't about copyright. And that's part of what they're doing here. But it's like, fuck you guys. Fuck you guys. And they say further, Casey Tron's statements she had no involvement or knowledge contradicts the apology video and that she had any credible information. And then, indeed, Casey Tron's video stating she'll be used money in a GoFundMe for payment, along with their anticipated contradictory testimony, appears to be coerced in exchange for a dismissal of the lawsuit against her, so that TEI does not ruin her life. Yes, that's how this works. And guess what? Yes, apparently there's going to be contradicting statements. That's going to be for a deposition. That's for an evidentiary hearing. So now that you're challenging this, guess what? Their goal is to get this quashed as quick as possible, because the longer this takes and the more things that happen, they get sucked into the quagmire more and more and more and more and more and more and more. And now they're bitching about evidentiary statements. Sounds like we have to have a hearing. Sounds like we need testimony. I guess we're doing a deposition. That's costing money. The meter's fucking running now, Jannies. This isn't a simple motion to quash anymore. This is now turned into a full-blown disaster. So you're widening the scope unnecessarily at this point. You're unnecessarily just you're expanding the theater of conflict now for some reason. For some reason, you decided to open up another front. I don't know why. I don't know why. But they want to do this. And they say Ethan's reacting to Casey Tron's apology, Denham's reaction, evidence bad faith intentions. Contradict the statements and will not use Doe's identifying information to dox or humiliate them. It showed the goals of Ethan's lawsuit to ruin its critics' lives financially or otherwise. Denham's commentary is relevant to show there's absolutely no collusion, supporting contributory copyright infringement in this case. But what about the other cases? Which case is this case? That's another issue. Which case is this case? They're not saying all three, but just this one. Which one is that? Ooh. Does that mean some of them did work with them? This is a problem here with when you word this, are you acknowledging tacitly that there has been some collusion? I don't know. But it's very interesting it's worded that way. These are fancy book-learning attorneys. These are the fancy guys. They say other reactions show the despicable outrage TI fans will unleash against a dose that they're unmasked. Well, you're Jannies. Nobody likes you. The evidence is directly relevant to Ethan's motivations in filing the lawsuits and unmasking subpoenas. Well, no, his motivations in filing the lawsuits. Has the law been broken? Can he seek redress? Yes, his motivations are relevant at that point. The harms the does and the public face by the stifling of free speech. No, there's no harm to the public here. The lack of evidence of any collusion. Well, you just said that this kind of like implies there is. I'm just saying. Useful Mistake says that's Janny-phobic. Well, oh, good to see you here. Overall, this evidence affirms Ethan should be held to a strict high bar before it can unmask those, and the balance of harms weigh in favor of them. So they want to. They have a stipulation to this motion could not be obtained from TEI. Meaning, remember, you have to meet and confer and get does the party agree to this? Well, they couldn't get it, and we'll get to all that in a minute here. So they point out local rules show that once a reply is filed, no additional papers or letters may be filed without prior approval, except an objection to reply evidence or a statement of recent decision. So if there was a Supreme Court case or a Ninth Circuit case that came out, remember, we're up in the state of California, so it'd be the Ninth Circuit. So if something new hit the ground, there was a certified, hood single out there, you need that. You need that. So, in other words, with court approval, you can file additional or supplementing material including evidence which did not exist at the time of the filing. Yeah, this is new. This is all new. Further, they introduce a discrete set of new evidence, not to start a never-ending cycle of supplemental filings, which is kind of funny because this is basically right here, Russell Greer and the farms right now, just a never-ending cycle of shit. They also have, the courts have considerable latitude in managing motion practice. Yeah, because they get to set it. And they can enforce local rules. And remember, we saw this with the Smash JT lawsuit. Every judge can have their own court rules on top of those rules. Remember, you have like rules of civil procedure. Then you have local rules for that court. And then you could have rules on top of those rules, with each judge having separate rules. The rules will make or break you. Rules are make or break you. So they're pointing out that they're claiming Ethan won't be prejudiced. So they go to the apology video. They say it shows Ethan's intentions and motives for future actions. Specifically, it shows Ethan is using heavy legal or financial pressure to force his critics to recant. That's how the legal system works. It's money and power and how well you can apply it, or how well you can do with very little of it at the same time. No reasonable person could view this apology video as a genuine apology, as opposed to a capitulation of to legal threats. Yeah, that's how this goes, man. That's like, yes, no shit. This is yeah. It's a capitulation to legal threats, yes. Welcome to the law 101. And they believe that the primary goal of these subpoenas is to, this shows that it's bullshit. Yeah. Moreover, in the video, Casey changes her story. Yeah, well, great. Once again, all of this here, all of Casey Tron's statements may thus be used to impeach her credibility in any statements against the Does. Yeah. Sounds like you're going to have evidentiary hearings. You're now, once again, expanding the scope of everything you're in here for. I don't know why you want to do this. And yes, they are inconsistent statements. And you could attack her for bias. You could challenge her credibility. Great. Great. Not right now, though. And they point out she makes apologies not related to copyright. She talks about not using her money for a monetary settlement, yet she did. And they say the video is disturbing. No, it's not. That's not that bad. That was pretty light. And they say they're saying the lawsuits are about silencing and extorting Ethan's critics and obtaining vindication for perceived reputational harms. I mean, like I said, it's a vendetta ride, but whatever. That's a secondary goal. And 3, unmasking the Does whose only actions were to moderate a subcredit critical of Ethan. Yeah, I don't think so. No, but they do acknowledge it's true. Parties are able to agree to terms of settlement that a court would not enforce on its own, including an apology. Yes, apologies are standard everywhere. And there's no court in America that's going to say, wow, an apology is unheard of or unconscionable. They say the other reactions to the video, nobody cares. The harassing responses. This says Ethan supporters immediately reacted, attacking Casey, praising her downfall and financial ruin. Yes, suffer, commies. Suffer. The hate messages of the Does. I mean, you're Reddit Jannies. Nobody loves you. Ethan's Instagram stories. So Ethan's stories about the mediation and thereafter demonstrate his glee about victory. Is he? How dare Ethan be happy to win? How dare he, sir? Fucking come on. His reaction videos. Yes, telling his contributors thanks for donating them. The visually shares her now deleted GoFundMe page and identifies people who donated, supporting the Casey Tron. Yeah, oh well. But what is this doing? It signals other critics not only could they be sued, but their supporters could be targeted and humiliated. Silencing speech and criticism. That's always a potential problem on the internet. You want to go right into battle for somebody, you might catch an arrow. That goes for all of you. All of you. Ethan's discussion of Denham's reaction shows he's using a lawsuit to exert control. Yes, it's a lawsuit. It's about control. It's about power. And the evidence shows Ethan's message. If you settle and pay Ethan to avoid ruination, you will be rewarded with praise and grace. Yes, that's how this works. That is how this works. If you fight like denims and does, you are subject to endless degradation and harassment. That's how this works. That's how this works. Denim's reaction post. Yeah, okay. Denim's reaction to Casey Tron's policy is relevant to show there's absolutely no collusion with the doe's common intent to infringe. Are you sure? Are you sure about that? Because it sounds like, Rogan's gone radio silent, so I don't know what that means here, but so they want to go ahead and do this. So the declaration here, this is 64 pages. We're not going to get into all of it. But this is where they have a couple of different things they want to include here. They're including a stipulation for dismissal. They're including all the different stuff here. But they're going through a bunch of we're going to go through a bunch of things here. This is the actual thing from Casey Tron's lawsuit. The dismissal pursuant to Federal Rule 41. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Nobody cares again. Moving on through that. Exhibit B is the declaration that they put together going through all of this. And this is where they put down all the timestamps for all their exhibits, because some of this has to be submitted on a flash drive because you can't upload video files on the ECF, the electronic filing system. But they are uploading that stuff in a way that works. Then there's Exhibit C. And this is here. This is what's going on here. This is this is the discussion between the attorneys about what's going to happen here. And we'll start with this. And this is, we're going to go backwards in time. So this is the attorney for the H3 Reddit mods. Leah Vulchik or whatever, I don't know. Some Slavic nonsense. And she says, "Dear Ron, we intend to file an administrative motion. And here's what we want to introduce. Seek the following evidence. Will you stipulate to submitting this additional evidence?" And so we've already gone through all this, what this all contains. And he says, and this is Ethan's attorney here. And he says, "Do you have any legal precedent where a party was allowed to introduce evidence after a reply brief?" I mean, there's not necessarily probably case law on point, but just kind of normally, it makes sense if there's supplemental information. That's not really a problem here. That's not really a problem. So I don't know where you'd be able to find something here, but she says, "Hey, here you go. Here's a case, Northern District, California. Definitely went through Westlaw." And he says, "Is this a sole authority you intend to rely upon?" And she says, "No, as you know, local rules state that no supplementary material may be filed with prior court approval. We are seeking that approval. We're preparing the motion, but we're required to ask you. We have to meet and confer whether or not you'll stipulate. And we want to notify you as soon as possible. We need to seek court approval either way." And he says, "I appreciate the answer. I'll get back to you. This is normal. He's got to go talk to Ethan." And she says, "Thank you." And then Ethan says, Ethan's attorney says, "Here you go." He says, "My client's willing to stipulate on certain conditions. We believe these conditions are reasonable." And he says, "We will stipulate to a 3-stage process. Your client's submission of a supplemental brief and the supplemental evidence identified in your email from Friday. My client will submit a SIR reply, meaning he gets to reply to this. And SIR reply to the evidence. And then the Reddit mods get to do a SIR reply to that. And they can lodge objections to the SIR reply. So, and he says, here's our timing. You'll have 1 week granting the stipulation. Your clients will submit a declaration that it's confined to authenticating the items. Your clients will submit their supplemental brief up to 5 pages, confined to discussing the evidence. And then he says, my client will have 2 weeks to respond. I will submit evidence confined to addressing this. And I'll file a SIR reply of up to 15 pages. And he says objections. Your client will have 1 week from filing the SIR reply to object. Your objection can only be 5 pages. And he says, if this works, I'll draft the stipulation. This is actually some real, this is some fucking hard-nosed lawyering when I read this earlier. Fucking Rom, man, dude plays hard. Dude plays hard. Like, not just saying, yeah, go for it, but he's laying out all kinds of terms. Like, fool, buddy. Fool, buddy. Now, immediately after that, like, later that day, she says, thank you. This is last week. She says, thank you for your proposal. However, I'm not trying to reopen briefing, but present a discrete set of new evidence. Well, they got the idea that you don't think the other side gets to respond is retarded. She says, as such, we cannot agree to your proposal. This is fucking stupid. Who's playing hard? Ethan's attorney. Ram Barnissim is Ethan's attorney right here. This is Ethan's attorney right here. This guy, Ram. Leah is the Reddit mod's attorney. So if that helps you explain a little bit. Ethan's attorney is Ram. Leah is for the mods. These guys played pretty fucking hard. Ethan's attorney ain't fucking around. And anyways, this is just a bunch of the harassment that poor Casey Tron has received. Oh no, it's so sad. It's so sad, chat. There is the exhibits that are manually filed with the clerk, meaning, the stuff on the drive. This is a transcription of some things. There's another thing filed with the clerk. Here's a transcript of that. And now look when we get to stuff here. Timestamp members only live chat messages from the H3 podcast. The Willie Mac Show. Content. She's bending the knee to the king. Cooperating against Snark. Let's go. Yeah, well, let's go indeed. Various YouTube comments with hyperlinks. Yep, various YouTube comments. Then this is some Reddit comments here. She looks scared out of her mind. Good. Yep, all these comments exist. Twitter comments. Oh, no, so sad. Legal mindset. More like legal dick sucker. Says, thank God Denims is stubborn enough to keep this going. We have amazing content coming from Discovery and get to see the Reddit mods exposed. I mean, yes, I agree. I love this idea. And then chat, the Kiwi Farms. Oh, no. They're relying on these Nazis. How dare they? These Reddit Jannies have turned around and picked up the shield. They picked up the Scootum with the Kiwi Farms blazoned on it, and they are now shielding themselves with Kiwi Farms post. Oh my. What kind of times do we live in now, chat? What kind of times are we living now? It is interesting. So, yes, I love some of these posts, though. Like this guy here, Dan of Steel, he says, yeah, exactly, fuck it. Why not even add more salt into the wound for the Kabbalah humiliation ritual? Oh, my God. Imagine you're underneath the shoes these people, Denims, Hassan Frogan, iCucks, Dysenic, Pedophile, Bad Epanata, Casey Tron, and the legions of Reddit snart niggers have been harassing you and your family for years, but not limited to calling your wife a baby killer. I'm sure making gross and unhinged comments about your children, sending a skull to your house, trying to get your kids taken away via CPS. And the key point, this has been going on for years. Yeah. They're trying to use all this. And it's like, yes, everybody else knows. But you're relying on the Kiwi Farms. More absolutely convincing case you're trying to cooperate all but destroys every other person in the end. Yes, it does. I still think the real goal is to get Denims to flee the sinking ship next and ultimately use their testimony to bury the Snark Mods alive. These bitches were always a bridge to the real goal. I think so. Like I said, this is about intelligence and information. Ethan is using the system to help him. But in the meantime, he's going to win a fucking copyright lawsuit. They do care about teaching the Snark Mods a lesson. I agree. These mods are cooked and like a frog in a slowly boiling pot of water. They don't even realize it till the legs are being eaten by a French guy. Yep. More comments. The settlement was too nice. I think it was very fair. It's a public humiliation ritual. They always are. And then what many people think is me. I am not anonymous. But yes, I would say it was excessively vindictive up to the point they went after his livelihood and family with the CPS shit. And he says, I fucking hate Redditors and want to see them get their shit utterly wrecked for doing all the shit we're falsely accused of doing. Yes, it's very ironic. Total Redditor death. Yes, chat. TRD. That Sneed Force 1 says, this is far from over. Yep. There's so much more. Look at all this shit from the farms. Yes. Sigurd Lair. I love that one. Yes, I'm obviously useful mistake. Yes. Anonymous is Anna Kasparian. Yes. Oh, that's so funny. I'm also Fat Cop. Oh, that's so funny. But just look at all these just Kiwi Farms chats. Kiwi Farms chats. Kiwi Farms chats. I mean, this is just amazing. Like, it's so funny. They just once again protect us using the Kiwi Farms to protect themselves. What a time to be alive, chat. What a time to be alive. If you're putting screenshots from the farms in your court filings, you probably have already lost. Yeah, I think that kind of makes sense a little bit. What a time indeed, yes. Yes, he zapped his dog. Yes, Hassan did zap his dog. Is saying Null should delete some randomly early posts to fuck up their links. No, we don't. I understand what you're saying there, but you know he never deletes stuff. So I get what you're saying, but there's bigger principles at play for the farms. Oh, your TRD comments got filtered. Yeah, well, YouTube filters out all kinds of shit. Duradude says, why do the Jannies think this helps them at all? Because they're Jannies. They're fucking Redditors. They're retarded. This idea that they think this helps them, I don't understand. And the idea that they're telling Ethan, you know, like none of this helps them. None of this helps them at all. I don't understand it. But once again, you're asking for stupid people to explain shit to you. Like, you know, you're asking for dumb people to explain their fucking thought process here. And here's the problem. This idea that they know this is all wrong and they're going to kind of like point out like, haha, nobody knows us. And this is all like, as I said on the farms, why would you tell your enemy who's coming for you and trying to kill you, more or less? Why would you tell him that he's going on a wild goose chase? Let him go on the wild goose chase. Let him get the information. And then when he tries to come after you in court, you fucking ambush him with facts and just... But instead, they've tipped their hand now, saying that, oh, we have information. We have like separately obtainable information. I just don't understand. I don't understand why they would do this. I really don't. And once again, if Reddit was going to get involved, they got involved needlessly. But as I've thought about this more and more, I kind of get the feeling Reddit kind of acted like Polly toward fucking Henry Hill, and he's like, here's $1,000. I got to turn my back on you. Like, we'll pay for this lawyer, but you're on your own. I'm thinking that actually might be like, I don't know if Mindset's touched on that or anybody else has. That's kind of my theory. I've been thinking about like a couple days ago. I was thinking about it. And I'm like, maybe Reddit's bailed on him. Like from the start, Reddit bailed on him. Like, Yeah. Yeah. Because Reddit hasn't formally entered an appearance to challenge any of this yet. They're letting the Jannies fight the war on their own. Which is funny because that also defeats the that defeats the underlying principle of Call of Duty that nobody fights alone. Except here. It looks like. So they move on. They show the rest of this stuff here. Yeah, bunch of losers, Lamont. Well, yes, they are a bunch of losers. They are. Just all these comments. 1 down, 2 to go. Major L alert. Yes. Some of y'all are so fucked. Very true. Very true. These are great. These are good. These are all of it. Ethan Kline's Instagram. He says tomorrow I'll be engaged at court or mediation, therefore no show. He says new episode tomorrow, but if you look something to watch, Willie Mack just dropped a new banger. Says Ethan is taking their homes. Remember, chat, you can't because every state has like homestead exemptions. That way you can't just take someone's home. You could put liens and creditor claims on them, but you can't force people out on the street, generally speaking. We do that to prevent like violence from happening because that shit would happen. People will kill people to keep their kids off the street. Pinnacle Mosley, 2003, saying, hello, everyone. I just gifted a membership. Thank you to whoever gifted it to me. Well, thank you for being here. Oh, Penny Ice Mosley. I'm sorry. I thought it was Pinnacle for a second. I'm sorry. Thank you for being here. He says, enjoying mediation. Yeah, this is... Yeah, there you go with the doggos. He says, keep things in mind. Casey Tron, everything said is true. And he says, to my knowledge, Hassan has not offered to support them, which is hilarious. And he says, does Reddit know their site's being used to commit fraud? These are fucking hilarious. He says, thank you, Anissa. And she said, for my birthday, I want to give everyone who can afford to go to donate to Casey's legal fees. That would mean so much to me. Yes. Oh, buddy. He says, what's funny? Me and Anissa have the same birthday. Crazy coincidence. Her birthday request was my present. As she knows, these lawsuits are expensive. He says, with Ian and Anissa and Ian's help, Ian only gave $420. That's $580 less than his more generous wife. I'll be able to fund them for a very long time. Oh. Yes, Hassan got really mad about all of this. Then he went to go cuck in China. And then, yes, Denham's little retard scree. More and more stuff here. And that is it, guys. That's what they did here. Oh, yeah, this is just... I don't know why they would do this. But they are desperate if they're using the Kiwi Farms as a shield. I don't think this is... You can have all these reasons for a lawsuit. This does not help them. I don't know why they think it does. But once again, these people are retarded. Terminally retarded. I mean, they are Reddit Jannies. And they hired a Reddit Jannie, it seems like, to do their lawsuit. And, their response here. It's never a good idea. I don't know why they, like I said, unless Reddit's turned their back on them, I don't know why they got involved. But we'll see more. What happens. I mean, and I do think it's funny. Do they? I don't know if these Redditors think they could go into court and say, Your Honor, we motion to downvote Ethan's motions. And then the judge goes, what? But Your Honor, you're not downvoting your way out of this lawsuit, you guys. This is it. So, this is it. And this just further drags them into the quagmire, which it sounds like we're going to have more and more stuff. Useful mistake is that the farms might enjoy suffering does not in any way relate to anything the plaintiffs are doing. Yeah. The attempt to link all of it is weird. Well, I think their point is to show that their argument really here is everybody in the world could see what this is about. Okay, so what? It's a valid copyright lawsuit too. But that's what they're trying to do. They're showing that because we all know what Ethan's really wanting to do, that makes it obvious and therefore true. That's really what they're going for here. And I understand the argument, but at the end of the day, Ethan has a valid lawsuit he is using. Yes, they get to go in there and go, ree! And the judge goes, the judge looks at him, he takes his oh, I forgot I got this right here. From my recording days for Dark Side Phil. They're gonna go ree, and the judge will go, dismissed. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. So, I think it goes to Casey Tron's credibility. Of course, it all goes to Casey Tron's statements go to her credibility. Great. So let's have a deposition about that. And that deposition is going to lead to a lot of things. What does she know right away? Oh, God. If you're a Reddit, Janny, do you really want to get into that? Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that, Jannies? I don't think you are. I don't think you are. And just like Kurt Russell's like, goddamn right, you're scared. They're fucking terrified right now. And they should be. They should be. Is that the tiny gavel or is Sean so big it just looks tiny? A little bit of both. A little bit of both. If you start depositions, won't they be forced to be deposed too? Not necessarily, depending on what the court allows, but I'm just saying now they're demanding Casey Tron get involved. Like, whatever she says. Ooh, man. I don't know if they're prepared for what that actually means at the end of the day. It just seems very, very dangerous to me. It seems very dangerous. All right, and then real quick, Fair Frozen 55 is saying, you saw that how Turk shit dog shocker got instant ban on that Chinese app? No, I didn't, but that's fucking hilarious. It's like, of course they purge commies, and they purge the foreign-born commies. By the way, hope you enjoy your early and late arriving gift. Yes, guys, if you weren't aware, Fair Frozen sent this. He's like, let me know when it gets there. It didn't show up. It's like 2.5, almost 3 weeks late now from Amazon. But this is so fucking hilarious. He got it right away. You can't buy these anymore. This is a die-cast MD-11 from with UPS livery. So this is a collector's item now because these got yanked off the shelves because of the plane crash. And yes, that's, there probably won't be any MD-11s flying anymore ever again at this point because of what's been going on. But thank you for the super chat, man. Stephen Cooper gifting 5 subs. Ashley Princess gifting 5 subs as well. Thank you, Ashley. We getting a woo from. Yes, we do. We getting a woo. Anime Exceptionalism says, just got here, Sean. Are you wearing pants? Whatever you need to tell yourself. Which mental image do you want? That's the correct one. SB Sellers gifting 5 subs. Get another one. That's right. Useful Mistake gifting 10 more. Holy shit. Thank you so much. I feel bad. This is like an hour now, but we were getting through all the Casey Tron stuff, guys. Sorry. Had to get to it all. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I mean, I don't know what, we're having a great day, man. Like, I think we're having the only person that's having a better day than us is this guy.
Oh, man! Check him out, y'all. He having the time of his life.
I mean, you have the time of your life, chat. Unforced Ego for $20 says, it was great seeing you on Normal America with Rob Noor. Yes, guys, Rob did a 24-hour stream He was supposed to do it at a different time, but he ran really long dealing with somebody and then just kind of turned it into a 24-hour stream that ended about an hour ago, almost 2 hours ago. Congratulations on getting through it in one piece, Rob. Pisco doesn't know his butt from a hole in the ground. Pisco knows a lot. I know people don't like him, but he's not an idiot. It was great to hear you explain the hoarded combat details. I mean, I'm not even the best at it. I'm not well versed in military law. I was never a JAG attorney. But like I said, you can download the DoD's law manual. It's updated as of 2023. I understand that's a little bit late, but there's no other. I talked to a prosecutor who I know is a JAG attorney. He's like, I can't give you the modern. He's like, it's not unclass. He's like, he can't just give me a copy. He can't email me a copy. But he's trying to see if there's like a way I can get access to the modern one. But at least as of 2023, you can understand the idea of being hoarded combat, being out of battle, being whether or not you could be attacked in all the different situations. And because the DoD also weaves in, the law of armed conflict, but also the laws like on land, also the laws in the sea. Remember, the sea has its own laws and customs. So there's all kinds of stuff out there. There's all kinds of stuff out there. Trucker Rob for $10 says, Sean, I'm going to see a lawyer on Monday. I don't know if that doesn't sound good. Now I can finally apply all my interweb knowledge. I'm sure he really wants to hear you talk about all that. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Blade 2.0 says, oops, I'm late. Merry Christmas. Well, thank you for being here for 5 months. Remember, guys, when you need a blade, but you need something better, Blade 2.0. It's even sharper. You just want to know if Ethan wore a tap-out shirt? That would have been funny if he did that. But no, he did not. And then Jefferson Post says, do lawyers have a responsibility to their client in the court regarding truthfulness and not to support perjury and settlement statements? Well, of course. You always have a duty of candor. You have a duty of candor. You cannot support perjury. So remember, Ethan believes all this stuff to be true, whether or not it's actually 100% true. I mean, I think there's a presumption it's true because Casey's agreeing to it. She wouldn't lie in front of the court. But ultimately, yes, as attorneys have a duty not to suborn perjury. We have a duty of candor. You can't have a lack of candor to a court. Yep, very true. Very true. It's a good thought there. Good thought there. Yes, is Ethan Kline suing you? Don't call me, says J-Rock. Yes. Yes. Mew, just Mew. Became a member. Well, thank you for the support. I appreciate it. We already got that. We got that. What is H3's goal in the end? To see these commies suffer? Yes. He wants to go after the people that went after him. They sent skulls to him. They terrorized his family. Children's services got called. Like Ethan Kline, he's settling scores, man. He's Michael Corleone. He's settling family business today. He's settling family business today. Golden Mongoose says, remember, Sean, you're in the game as well. I just got the briefcase. Yes. Some people have the shotgun. Some of us have a briefcase. We all got our part. Very true. Very true. All right, guys. So I think we're all caught up here. The funny thing is they all fell into a trap. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. The goal is to secure and expand a homeland for his chosen people. Well, yes. All right, guys. So now it's I was a merchant marine lawyer. No, I was not. But it's just interesting to learn all that stuff. Did we cover Tyler Robinson yet? No, Sweet Tooth. We're gonna do that tomorrow. We're gonna watch the hearings tomorrow. We just have that's not on the agenda for today. That will be tomorrow night. Tomorrow afternoon, probably. So James Reed saying is a some planes defect that grounded all the MD-11s. Well, they're finding out with the MD-11s, there's a lot of problems. So, for example, the one that crashed, basically one of the engines sheared off its mounting pylon. And since then, they've been investigating other ones, and they found similar failures in the airframe. So right now everything's been grounded, and they're giving these airplanes a once over. Yeah. So everything's getting onced over. The U.S. Forest Service has pulled their MD-11s they were using for fire suppression. Everything is grounded right now on a lot of this stuff. And probably not going to fly much longer at this rate, if there's anything left flying. So let's see here. Can Ethan use the info he gets to from the Reddit mods to turn around and sue Reddit? Possibly. If he turns out that these mods had a lot more connection with Reddit. Like, remember the one Reddit mod, Roman P, who claims he's a Reddit mod, has access to the Reddit staff and the Reddit administrators, and, you know, has all kinds of things going on there. Theoretically, yeah, that could lead to Reddit's ass being grass. I have a feeling there's enough cut out there that probably not, even if Reddit was involved. But yes, theoretically, depending on, because they might flip. Like, if the Snark mods get found out, well, guess what? Are they going to flip on somebody? Who can they flip on? You know, squealing in these situations, squealing is all you got. So we'll see. Maybe. Let's see. Missouri Battleflat says they were originally another plane, weren't they? And then they were remodeled into a newer version. Well, there was the DC-10, which became like and then became the MD-11. Those planes were like they were not the best. Not the best, not properly designed. There's a reason why they got dumped very quickly from use in civilian air travel. So, yeah. Jefferson Post, is there an overarching organization that certifies airworthiness for models of aircraft? Well, like I not like the ICAO doesn't do that. Not particularly, but like the NTSB and all that. Like it all got grounded because of the inspections. So I don't think specifically there is. Dirty Eric saying the shear bolt that failed did its job and sheared. I think it was a lot more just the bolt that sheared, like the actual pylon housing sheared off as well. When you look at the one picture, the whole fucking engine and everything takes off. Just rips out the whole wing. So DC-10 was pretty infamous. Yeah, it was. If I pull those glasses off, will you die? It will hurt. It will be quite painful. It's like, if I pull them off, I can't see. Like, I can see there's like a highlighted comment right here. What all can I see right now? I can't see shit, man. I mean, I am. Hold on here. Let me try this real quick. If I ever get LASIK, or more importantly, if I start wearing contacts again, which I probably never will. Okay. Yeah. Oh, God. I can only read because I know what's there. No, I can't. There's me without glasses, chat. Hi. Yes, I know I can't see with my glasses. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, David's saying it's country by country. Yeah. And yeah, most places will follow the FAA's airworthiness. You're a big guy for you. LASIK, I don't know. LASIK scares me because you hear about the people who did LASIK and they went to like some guy who doesn't really do it right and then they go blind. So that's scary. Looks scary. Got to get LASIK before 45. Yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right. I like my glasses. I have those Betty Davis eyes. What? Like, huh? I mean, without squinting, here's what I look like. And I only know the camera's there because I can see the green light that's kind of blurry. Hold on here. Let me see if I can I read what's written on this microphone? Yes. Sure. Let's see how far away it is till I can't read it. Out of focus already. Out of focus from here. I mean, if you want to see how far away my phone is when I read it, here, we'll do this. Here it is. This is where I'm at. So it's very close. It's very close. I've had my eyesight's not the best, but it's not good. You had your eyes done? I don't know, man. That stuff is scary. So what? Stop what? What is my prescription? It's like plus, or it's like minus. It's like minus 5.75 in one eye, and I think like minus 5.5 in the other eye. It's not bad. It's not like really bad, but it's not close to being good. I really need it though. If you're already blind, go to LASIK, get blind, nothing changed, lawsuit settlement. Yeah, I don't want that. I can't do that. Get your eyes done. Medical tech is based, says J Rock for 27 months. Yeah. Dirty Eric says the problem with LASIK is the flap dislodges, and then PRK has none of that risk. Well, I don't know. I just always remember the book Into Thin Air. One of the guys had some sort of eye surgery done, and it failed while he was up on Mount Everest, and he died because he went blind. So that also scares me too. It's not like I'm climbing Mount Everest. It's just that's a really bad thing. They give you a Valium. Oh, okay. Well, that helps. Robin says I'm blind. I'm not that bad. I have Tylenol eyes. Yes. Could you shoot a radio without your glasses? I don't get the joke. Could I shoot a radio without my glasses? No, I couldn't shoot a gun without my glasses. David said I will never be a fighter pilot. Yeah, well, I was that was kind of out the window when I was in the 5th grade. But yeah. Yep. I would roll up Mount Everest. Yeah, I ain't rolling up Mount Everest, though. Are you thinking of Final Destination? No, Into Thin Air. It's about the 1996 Everest mountain climbing disaster where, like, 13 people died on the mountain. I know a lot of people don't like the book because they think Matt Krakauer, like, lied about some shit, but the way some of those people died had to have been fucking awful. Then there's a guy who, like, lost all his fingers and his nose and his ears and shit. That whole book is scary as fuck about what happened up there. Uniman and Everest stream. Yeah, well. Yeah. Dave says you're that bad. It's not that bad. Trust me. My dad's far worse. Oh, the one-eyed law blogger, yeah. Oh, the radio. Oh, when I almost shot the radio in my house. Yeah. No, I had my glasses on for that. I had to put my glasses on for that. Like I was gonna make sure I knew who the fuck I thought I was gonna have to kill when I had my rifle. When I had that AR-15, dude, I was getting ready to come around that corner. I had my glasses on, and I was like, so I wanted to make sure I didn't shoot the wrong person. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Half the people here, like from the farms, they're like, "What? You almost shot a radio?" I'm like, "Yes, I almost killed a stereo one night." Yeah. Was it a radio that woke you up one night thinking it was a break-in? Yeah. I kind of forgot where we were going with that. Are those people still up there? Yes. If you're up on Everest and you die, you don't come down. It's dangerous to bring you down. Some people were never found. Their bodies were never found because they wandered off. But no, there's also the Rainbow Valley where all the people die on the way up in their bright, puffy jackets. And you can, they know who's who. So when you're climbing up the mountain, they're like, say hi to Francis. Like it all happens there. So. Let's see here. Tell the radio story again. I'm not. Was it a ham radio? No. You should have had night vision goggles and an IR laser. I was I was in law school. We were kind of poor at that point. So. Yes, the person known as Green Boots is a waypoint marker. So. Let's see here. What are we? The mountain is already too high for. Yeah, base camp is like very dangerous getting up there. They can't really evacuate you. Yes, yeah. Anatoly Borkiv, he was one of the guys who he climbed Everest without oxygen, had already summited, came back down, and went back up to look for people and rescue people. Yeah, that guy's. Some of those people are fucking insane, doing all that. Yeah, they use the corpses as landmarks, yes. And Noel wants to go to Antarctica. Why? Oh. Imagine how many Indian climbers have coomed on the bodies on the mountain. Oh, no. Oh, no. That's bad. Yeah. Yeah. Can you see Rainbow Mountain on Google Earth? No, but if you Google Rainbow Valley, Mount Everest, there are pictures of frozen bodies you can see. And yeah, there's over 400 bodies up there. Yep. Yep. All right, so let's move on to Russell Greer. People are leaving. We need to keep going, chat. Guys, on the Russell Greer front. Things there's been a very interesting week. It's been a very interesting week by all standards. By all standards. Things have been very, very interesting. I think we could say it that way. Remember, last week was the lament of the desert hookers. Primarily Natalie Banks. You guys remember she is an escort, among other things. I think how she would call herself. Once again, I'm not going to sit here and make fun of her because she didn't call herself. She is a sex worker. She I don't know if she still does, but has worked in Nevada. I know right now she's in Ohio. She's in the Akron. If you guys want to go see her. So, if you want to go annoy Cyrax and then go watch some strippers afterwards, go do it that way. That would be hilarious. But you guys can go see her. She has her whole channel where she talks about here on YouTube, where she has talked about the crazy clients she dealt with before. And this is everything that's happened in this past week has been surrounding that. Has Sean tracked down the club yet? No, but I have talked to Matt Harden about it. It was kind of funny. He decided not to make me go look for the case, but he has gotten in touch with her. So, yes, as we learn, Russell Greer calls himself the brothel prince. Yes, the brothel prince. So what happened here? Well, things started off. Oh, I forgot. I gotta hold on, chat. We gotta make Russell so he doesn't quie, even though the address he uses is not a valid address anymore. For some reason, I'm not allowed to show it because Russell quies. He quies. So here we go, guys. A motion to disqualify Matthew Harden and revoke his Pro Hoc Vice status. Now, guys, remember, Pro Hoc Vice, Matthew Harden is not licensed in the District of Utah, but he is licensed in other federal courts and admitted, so he could show up Pro Hoc Vice. So, what does Russell want here? What does Russell want? Well, he wants to disqualify Matthew Harden for a sustained and escalating pattern of misconduct that violates the rules, prejudices the proceedings, and has caused documented harm. This includes improper third-party contact, defamatory statements, mischaracterization of sealed materials. Remember, Russell said, I'm submitting non-party information. It was about himself. Repeated misuse of expired protective orders, Reliance on unvetted and hostile witnesses. Well, yes, Russell, every witness that doesn't like you is going to be hostile. Like, yes, I'm going to rely on those people. And the injection of inflammatory allegations unrelated to the case. And he says because it's a revocable privilege, which it is. It's a privilege, not a right. He wants Matthew Hardin disqualified. And Russell starts off again. This is not a dispute over zealous advocacy. This motion arises from a year-long pattern of defamatory communications, misrepresenting expired protective orders as evidence of violence, meaning Russell Greer, remember, we went through this last time. There are multiple protection orders out there from multiple sex workers and hookers because Russell Greer is fucking insane. And allegedly, he fucking beat up a fucking chick at a brothel. There's a lot of issues, and we're going to get to all that. Yeah, we're going to get to that useful mistake. We will. Oh, yes, we will. We got to get there. Injecting false allegations into discovery, contacting plaintiff's friends in violation of ethical rules, submitting a witness whose public videos contradict the Matthew Hardin's representations, misusing public records procedures, and engaging in personal ridicule of a pro se litigant. Well, that doesn't matter to anybody. You're supposed to, work with people, so it doesn't matter there. This is a pattern with Mr. Hardin. And then, yes, courts have latitude to impose sanctions, including revoking Pro Hoc Vice. So, once again, Russell, do not do this. Control Enter, start a new page, brother. Please. Matthew Hardin, improperly contacted plaintiff's friend and caused real-world harm. On December 4th, Hardin CC'd plaintiff's acquaintance WH. We already know who it is. It's Waylon Huber, Russell. We already know who it is. He's already been discussed multiple times. In an email alleging fraud, violence, and attempts to allure women into the desert, which those are all true. The allegations were fabricated and pulled from unvetted online content. Oh, it's unvetted, huh? The plaintiff had previously instructed Hardin to cease contacting people personally connected to him. That's not how that works. In October and then in May, when Hardin contacted the same unrelated third party to this case, Hardin has refused. Russell has sought twice for a protective order, and this court has been mum on whether it will grant it. Well, yes, it's not going to. Hardin's conduct caused Waylon Huber to... This is the realtor. And Matthew Hardin brought up something interesting. He is like the housing manager for like the Section 8 housing in Winnemucca, where Russell was trying to set up that brothel. And they were going to eminent domain like the hotel. So it's very interesting that Waylon Huber's getting his hands dirty like that. But hey, even after Huber cut contact, Hardin's still contacting this person. Russell will plainly say he is not a witness, according to you. He has nothing to do with the copyright claims in this case. There is zero reason for Matthew Hardin to be contacting him. Oh, no. So Mr. Hardin submitted a defamatory records request. He submitted a public records request to the city of Winnemucca after he found out Greer had been in Winnemucca, practically stalking him. In that request, Matthew Hardin portrayed Russell in a malicious and misleading manner. Instead of identifying himself as opposing counsel in a copyright case, Hardin presented himself as an interested member of the public seeking documents for public interest. Well, he's allowed to ask for whatever he wants. His statements contain a series of defamatory statements that he has a misdemeanor conviction arising from inappropriate behavior towards one woman. He's subject to at least 3 separate protective orders. Yeah, he was. Allegedly demonstrating unlawful behavior towards women. Yeah. These claims are misleading. First, Hardin entirely omitted that the cited Utah misdemeanor was reduced to a traffic violation in 2022. What was it about, Russell? What happened? You tell us. Further, he failed to acknowledge the role of Kiwi Farms as instigating the incident. The victim of that case retained attorney Greg Skordas, who represented Taylor Swift, the subject of Russell Greer's infringed book. The victim was referred to Skordas by Kiwi Farms users. The prosecution that resulted was not organic. It was a targeted online harassment campaign with the farms feeding the victim, who has a mental health issues, lies about the plaintiff, promoting her to pursue charges. Even the Orem city attorney became aware of the farms, and it really caused a circus. Okay, but what happened, Russell? What happened? Second, the protective orders are more than a decade old and were entered only. Well, that still makes you sound like a creep, Russell. Acted on misguided advice from family at the time, did not contest them. Okay. Each order expired long ago. It still makes you sound like a creep. None involved violence, threats, or any conduct relevant to copyright law. How do we know that didn't involve threats or violence? You don't just get protective orders for the lulz. So third, by not disclosing he was acting as defense counsel, the records request came as a journalist-style inquiry rather than an adversarial litigation tactic. It doesn't matter. They're not a party. He asked for documents. He was given documents. He doesn't have to do stuff. Once he obtained the documents, he assumedly gave them to Moon, who in turn published them on the Kiwi Farms. They're public records, Russell. Who cares? It says, fourth, the same request is how Hardin contacted Waylon Huber, a non-party, who was then harassed with false accusations of fraud. Russell and Huber were stalked by Hardin, even though repeatedly unsolicited emails, blah, 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 blah. The misrepresented protective orders. Well, let's see. You know that he has a history of violence. Allegedly, you do. The orders are irrelevant, have nothing to do with violence, and their inclusion is designed to inflame rather than inform. Well, yeah. Yeah, let's see there. Let's see there. Yeah, this is yeah, this is yeah. Yeah, why is 400 a thing? This is document number 400. This is entry 400, you guys. What this is here, if you go on to Pacer or even Court Listener, document number 400. If you want to go backwards in order, document number 1 is always the complaint or leave to do informa pauperis. So the complaint is always like right off the bat. There's a lot of court action. And yes, J-Rock is pointing out there are 400 filing orders, entries, whatever, in a civil lawsuit, which is a shitload absent complex litigation or big money. Yeah, that's the thing. This is like a massive fucking lawsuit. J-Rock says, I had a pro se defendant once. The court banned him from further filing after 150 or so without prior court approval. Yeah. This is a lot, though, although Matthew Hardin has to respond to everything, and I don't blame him for wanting to respond to everything to make sure he covers his bases. But yeah. Yeah, Greer makes a ton of filings. Yes, he engages in paper terrorism. Hardin fabricated misconduct based on false assumptions about a sealed document. Yes, Russell's been accused of IFP fraud. Yes, he probably did. Hardin made this allegation based on a sealed filing which he's never had access to. Well, no, we make it based on all your other things. You spent money, you had U-Haul trucks, you did everything else. You filed another lawsuit. You spent money on hookers, but you were too poor to file a lawsuit, Russell. The IFP affidavit was submitted to seal, and its contents have never been disclosed. Hardin, therefore, could not possibly know what was represented in the sealed application. You're saying you're broke. Like, that's what you have to say. Are you saying that you didn't say you were broke? That's what IFP means. You can't afford it. So, yeah, there you go, man. Like, it's easy enough to infer. It's easy enough to infer there. Easy enough to figure out. It's easy enough to figure out. And it says, by asserting the definitive knowledge of the sealed financial information he's never seen, which is easy enough to infer, his accusations are reckless. No, they're not. They're pretty much right on. The disparity in how plaintiff and Hardin are treated underscores the need for disqualification. The irony of the situation is impossible to ignore. Russell was recently sanctioned for a second time. Yes, really point out to the court that you've got 2 sanctions already. That's never a good idea. For allegedly making an unsupported inference about Hardin's compliance with a protective order. Well, you lied. It wasn't unsupported. It was a lie. Yet Hardin, without access to sealed documents on a basis, repeatedly accused Russell of criminal-level dishonesty, IFP fraud. Well, yes, because you are lying. You did all this shit and claimed you were too poor. And use these accusations to contact and intimidate people. The contrast is stark. Russell was sanctioned for speculation. No, you weren't. You didn't speculate. Hardin speculated, misrepresented facts, invoked sealed filings he's never seen, and did all this through public records channels. He faces no consequences. This demonstrates why disqualification is required. When opposing counsel operates on a false presumption that plaintiffs are inherently dishonest, which you are, and when the court appears in the statements while dismissing the explanations, the integrity of the proceedings are compromised. Disqualification is necessary to restore neutral administration of justice. Mr. Hardin Hardin has really chosen to stop litigating copyright issues. No, those are still on the table too, Russell. You don't have any witnesses or evidence you tend to introduce. And he points out that, doing all this magnifies an ethical breach. They go on zealous advocacy. He says no litigant should be forced to continue a case under a shadow of an attorney who fabricates wrongdoings and weaponizes public proceedings. Yeah. Oh, no, it's so hard, Russell. Hardin relied on an unvetted witness publicly posting videos mocking plaintiff and revealing her location. After plaintiff spent roughly 8 hours responding to Hardin's pseudonym motion in good faith, Russell discovered that the proposed witness was openly posting YouTube videos in shorts in which she shows her face publicly. Yeah. We know Natalie Banks' stage name. We don't know her real name. Advertises location. I'm in Vegas. Mocks plaintiff's disability and appearance. Calls Russell the craziest client stalking the brothel scene, which, yes, he is. And repeats sensational false allegations. He also says, she has videos in which she admits she has committed tortious interference and possibly crimes against Russell, such as boasting, I ruined his scam. How is that a crime? I ruined your scam. No, Russell's like, I have a right to go pester hookers. I get a ban from places he has never been. Yes, they all have this hooker app where they talk to each other, and they all have blacklisted Russell because they realize he's a creep. These posts prove she's not fearful. I don't know about that. And demonstrate Hardin did no vetting whatsoever and wasted both plaintiffs' time in opposing the court's time entertaining it. In fact, Natalie Banks has a reputation for gossiping about others. This can be seen on our YouTube page, where she trashes clients and coworkers. Yeah, well. Oh. But anyways, he goes on and says it's not an isolated lapse. These are merely the latest example. And he says emotion must be addressed where it raises ethical questions that are conceivably of a serious nature. Yeah, none of that's happened here. He says this all meets that standard. Once again, this is all AI, chat. This is all AI. Yes, Russell Greer basically put in, I was trying to scam hookers and it didn't work. Good job, Russell. So, Hardin's conduct tends to taint the underlying trial. How? How does it do that? They create an atmospheric prejudice that is condemned. Well, you're doing a bench trial. The ceasing of acquaintances result in the loss of an active friendship. Oh, not together forever. They also can demonstrate courts can revoke PHV access, which they can, Pro Hoc access. So what do they want to do? They want to disqualify Matthew Hardin, revoke his Pro Hoc, require Josh to get new counsel, and prohibit further communications involving plaintiff's acquaintances. No monetary sanctions are sought. That's interesting. Why not ask for that too? And he says, this is all wrong with the duties of candor, fairness, civility, and professionalism required of attorneys. And he says the court should act to prevent further prejudice. Signed, Russell Greer. So, anyways, this is Russell Greer's thing, Exhibit A. This is already some of these emails we've already dealt with. This is Matthew Hardin informing of hey, Natalie Banks isn't a witness. We don't know anything about her. I'm working on it. And then, yes, this is interesting here because Russell says, I'm pursuing criminal charges against you for stalking. I actually took off work to go to the police station and get you to stop. Headed right there now. Russell, you never did this. Where is the stalking order, Russell? Where's the police report? You didn't do it. You didn't do it, buddy. This is Natalie Banks, and yes, she is talking about Russell Greer. That is all of us. I love this. Russell, this is such a self-fucking own. You put this in there. Yes, all of us checked the comments just to see if he would show up. Yes. That is the sad part. Like, you included that. Good job, buddy. And then this is Russell Greer crying about the records request. It says, Matthew Hard's an attorney for a stalking site that's been trying to sabotage me. The farms have been linked to 3 suicides, and I'm currently trying to pursue criminal charges against the owner for stalking me. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It's just all the cringe, chat. These are all the rest of it here, and we're not going back through all these. We've looked at them all. Moving on, Matthew Harden shows up here. He just comes through. He says, this is bullshit. And Matthew, like I said, we're going to speed through some of these because some of these are good. Some of these are kind of boring. Anyways, Russell Greer makes 2 arguments to oppose. First, he says that Natalie Banks doesn't have any relevant testimony. Which, how do you know she doesn't? Sounds like you have knowledge there. That she has a relevant testimony or she's lying. And he said, that's not properly before the court. It's not. All they've done so far is disclose that she is a possible witness, as you have to do. Discovery stated she has not been set for a deposition, which Russell could then contradict her statements. It confront her with her statements and actions. Needless to say, her testimony cannot be taken at trials that have not yet been scheduled. And then the court would presumably have the opportunity to decide whether the testimony is relevant and admissible at a later date, but not now. The brief, therefore, focuses on Russell's second argument that she has no reason to be apprehensive of disclosing her true name. And it says Russell is entirely incorrect on that point, and defendants have now obtained a declaration from Natalie Banks stating why. Well, and we're going to... anyways, here we go. So why are we doing this? Well, Russell Greer has a documented history of threats towards women. It's resulted in 3 restraining orders in 2 states, which is not a simple feat. He has a documented history of intimidation to Natalie Banks, one of her colleagues. And the defendant sought for her to proceed under a pseudonym, but alternatively agreed that her name under Utah common law was Natalie Banks, and that was sufficient. Russell Greer says these are too old to matter and are misrepresented. Russell Greer says the defendants are not worried about her safety at all, and the true problem is not judicial findings, but is instead kink shaming of Russell Greer. Yes. Did I miss that part here where he talks about this kink shaming? Hold on, chat. Did I miss that? I apologize. Did I? No, that was last week. Russell talked about the kink shaming. I'm sorry, chat. And Greer argues that Banks is well known under a pseudonym, somehow makes her unable to proceed. And it says Russell Greer failed tied that she is known by her pseudonym by operation of common law. And Russell acknowledges the 3 restraining orders have been issued to protect women from him. Although he says without any support, one of them was reduced to a traffic citation. Russell Greer even acknowledges that 2 of those restraining orders were issued to sex workers similarly situated to Natalie. And in another of his filings, Greer states he was entirely innocent of any wrongdoing towards a 3rd woman, who he accused of mental health issues, and they accepted it only because of pressure from his family. And what's gone on is Natalie Banks stated she listened to Russell Greer's criminal sentencing hearing, which is in existence, chat. People have listened to it. Oh, yes, he did. She also states that she's aware of a 4th protective order, which was new, issued to a colleague of hers. She also has access to a database used by sex workers to verify or screen clients, and note that Russell is listed as a recipient of multiple negative reports. And none of this information indicates Greer somehow changed since his first protective orders were issued in Reno. To the contrary, he continues to operate the same. And because he fails to take responsibility, Natalie Banks is apprehensive that history will repeat itself. Now, this is, yes, Russell says he was engaged in flirtation and that they're sensationalizing his particular conduct here. But as explained in the declaration, that cannot be further from the truth. And Russell's assumption he can do whatever he wants when the target of his behavior is a sex worker is particularly alarming in the modern world. Note that when Russell does not allege he was Mrs. Banks' client, because he was not. He simply saw her as a target that was unable to say no due to her profession. And she explains that Russell's conduct is unwelcome and unusual, even in the context of communications at brothels. She explains that Russell personally tracked her to 2 very small towns in Nevada, sent her emails to announce he knew where she was, and Russell sought the private contact information of other workers and tried to recruit Miss Banks herself to work at a non-existent brothel with one presumes equally non-existent security measures. Oh! Yes. Russell refuses to take no for an answer. We're not kink shaming. We're trying to protect a woman from threats, which is true. But they say that, they point out that with the pseudonym, yes, she is a well-known sex worker. And she apparently that makes many men, including Russell Greer himself, feel they can treat her however they want to. She keeps her personal life separate from her sex work, and Russell offers no evidence that he knows her legal name or that her public persona is any other identity other than Natalie Banks. And that's because the entirety of her public presence is under a pseudonym. And he hasn't said, why can't we use the common law thing here? And this is all of this, but this is very funny, chat. Natalie Banks' declaration here. So this is a declaration, which you do. You testify that you have knowledge of what's going on and that she is an adult and she can legally do this. Yes, I'm an adult and competent to testify in these matters based upon my personal knowledge. I'm known as Natalie Banks. In this declaration, I do not disclose any other name which I've been known because I fear my personal safety will be put at risk. I am a sex worker and have been for over a decade. I was previously employed at legal brothels in the state of Nevada. I recently left Nevada. I reviewed the motion that Russell Greer filed, and the purpose of this declaration is to rebut statements made by Russell. If my name and address is released, I will be in danger of stalking and harassment from Russell Greer and possibly others. Although I've never hidden that I'm a sex worker, I've always kept my name and residential address confidential from clients due to the nature of my work. Yes, her clients can be fucking weirdos. Russell makes untrue statements about me, and among these false statements are that Russell engaged in consensual adult flirtation. He did not. I never flirted with Russell. All of his advances were unwelcome and unusual. Russell said he made no attempt to locate me. That is not true. Russell attempted to locate me in both Battle Mountain and Amargosa Valley, Nevada. His apparent position appears to be premised in large part on Russell's demand that he provided my address in Ohio. I don't want Russell Greer to have my address. The only reason he would need it is if he was indeed trying to locate me again. Yes. Imagine being accused in court that you harass hookers. I agree. It's bad. This is really bad. Russell asserts I know nothing about his finances or employment. That's not true. I know about Russell's payments for prostitution because Greer told me in written communication what he paid. I met an individual who also contacted me for the purpose of recruiting me to work at Russell's non-existent brothel. I received emails in various capacities about his director of a PAC and his capacity with Paralyzed Face Productions, which Russell Greer indicates is an active production company in Nevada. Greer states he blocked me from social media in 2025. She says, this may or may not be true. I have no way of knowing, but only tells a very small part of the story. I blocked Russell a year earlier and did nothing to encourage his continued communications. And she says, based on my training and experience as a sex worker, I don't know how much, like, not to be an ass, but like, what kind of training is there? It's my opinion that, like, I get experience, yes, but training. Anyways, Russell Greer presents uniquely elevated risks to myself and other sex workers, yes. Russell's the type of guy who, when the stripper would call him honey, he'd sit out in the parking lot for her, guaranteed. Russell refuses to take no for an answer. He will repeatedly send text messages, even though he receives no response or a negative response. He does not respect boundaries. Not a surprise. He contacted me on one occasion seeking to unmask a Jane Doe who was a sex worker engaged in litigation against a brothel at which I worked. And based on my knowledge and experience, the Desert Rose Club and the Calico Club, it's my understanding that Greer is not welcome at these establishments. It's my further understanding that other Nevada brothels have similarly banned Russell Greer from their premises due to inappropriate behavior. Yes. Yes, chat. There is apparently like only one place left he can go to in Nevada of the legal brothels currently. He says, Russell's tracked me on my travels and has been very open about making sure that I am aware he does so. You know, I worked in two very small towns, Amargosa Valley and Battle Mountain. Both times, Russell made sure he knew where I was and sent me emails confirming his knowledge. He said he would be coming there and that he intended to have sex with me there. His emails didn't suggest that I was to have any choice in the matter. Yeah, remember he said, I will be coming in you. It's like, ugh. And when he found out I was in Battle Mountain, he sent me an email saying, you're in Battle Mountain? Wow, stay safe. But I hadn't told Russell I was in Battle Mountain. He had no reason to know. She said, I reviewed the audio of Greer's criminal sentencing and said Russell's victim, indicated Russell would not take no for an answer and escalated his contacts with her repeatedly. This comports with my own experience. In that hearing, the prosecutor sought for Greer to undergo a psychosexual evaluation as a component. I'm not aware of whether he did so. He said, I've also reviewed select portions of the book Russell wrote. In that book, he documents his inability to take no for an answer and these behaviors of targeting women who don't respond. Yes. Remember, Ariana Grande, all of them. Yes. And she says, I'm aware of a colleague who received a protective order against Russell. That is not mentioned in the defendant's filings. So, yes, I love that on the farms. They're like, where's this other? I think it was a useful mistake. Where's this other? We need to find this other filing. Yes, there's lore that we even don't know. While I don't wish to disclose the identity of that colleague because such information may put her at risk, I'm willing to provide further information to the court in camera, meaning just to the court, or ex parte. I don't know how that's going to work. Specifically, I'm aware that my colleague received a restraining order against Russell Greer arising from his contact at a brothel. Yeah. Oh, buddy. In my work, I rely in part on online databases commonly employed by sex workers to verify or screen clients. These databases contain information from other workers and affiliated professionals relating to known risk from particular clients or potential clients. They're searchable in various manners, including by telephone number and email. I queried these and found reports indicating Russell's dangerous. Using Greer's cell phone number affiliated with this case. Oh God, fuck. He's gonna man, Nick Klein, I gotta, hold on, chat. Hold on. Russell, hold on. Let me fit your tampon. Man, my left foot. There. Now, Russell, you can cry in peace. I removed it for you because that's what he does. He goes to YouTube and cries and he gets taken down. So I got to fix it. I forgot about that one. So there you go. I found one report dated June 15, 2021, which said he's a sex pest with an harassment conviction. Well, actually, that's not even a valid phone number anymore. Another of Greer's phone numbers dating from 2020 through 2025. The most report recently says, totally crazy, keep away, he's going to hurt someone. threatens. A 2024 report says, do not engage stalker, dangerous predator behavior. Another one says he has a mental illness and started using a number to contact a sex worker after being blocked from communicating. These online databases are known to me to be generally reliable. They also comport my personal experiences. For obvious reasons, I do not wish Greer to utilize my name and residential address. In light of documents indicating he is going to hurt someone. And this is all above. I am apprehensive if he does this, he will engage in electronic harassment or stalking. And what's more, Russell may share this information with others. You know, we take great care to ensure we're not easily targeted by violent individuals. You know, and she's very concerned that you're a creep, Russell. That you're a creep. You're a winner. And then Matthew Harden just responds to the motion to disqualify. And this is very good here. Matthew Harden does some great writing in this one. This is a great one here. They say this isn't the first attempt to pick who defends his legal opponents. Russell tried to get rid of Greg Skordas, and Russell Greer intervened in a lawsuit for the purpose of seeking to disbar another attorney and render him unable to represent his clients. And that's the case involving Jason Guianas or something like that. I forget the guy's name. And certainly Russell Greer tends to believe that he, rather than his adversary, should get to pick who represents who. But that's not how it works. Joshua Connor Moon, and Lolcow LLC have made their choice. And yes, disqualification is a last effort because it separates a party from the counsel of its choice with immediate and measurable effect. It's very serious. That says even when a party can show some sort of faux pas, it does not necessarily follow disqualification as the appropriate remedy. Yes. How egregious was the violation? Was there prejudice in the diminution of counsel's effectiveness? And it says Russell seeks to express disqualified counsel as a sanction, although Greer can't point to any established violation of rules. Yeah, what are they? What happened? Church is so adorable. They say, indeed, the prior motion for sanctions have been denied. As much of the conduct Greer complains is currently before the court in two separate motions for protective order, neither of which have been granted. Yeah, like we're already been here. Russell seeks disqualification in an effort to pile on his previous motions, rather than on any independent basis. Russell does not come to the court with clean hands, channeling Acer Thorn, unclean hands. Russell has a documented history of false accusations that Matthew Harden has behaved inappropriately. Russell Greer has been sanctioned for his false accusations against Matthew Harden and repeats his bad faith tactics. It says not only has he sought disqualification as a sanction without following procedures under Rule 11, Russell also filed no analysis to support his conclusions. The cases are only cited for the general proposition. Courts have the power to disqualify, yeah. And they say, though, it says 4 cases show that courts have revoked PHV for behavior far less egregious than Harden's pattern. But what Harden's pattern is not clear. There isn't a pinpoint cite to specific propositions in those cases, or any discussion of specific conduct in those cases. And it says, having taken the trouble to read the cases, none of them appear to have been similar to this. And undersigned counsel is bewildered. Is bewildered as to what of his conduct is being compared or contrasted to. Greer's allegations are so general and bereft of analysis that an intelligent response is impossible. They say because the motion to disqualify was filed in bad faith or in an attempt to evade Rule 11, which is the ordinary and proper route to seek sanctions. And remember, Russell, the law is about words. Words mean things. They submit that it is in the interest of the court judicial economy to strike Russell Greer's motion to disqualify and require Greer to proceed under Rule 11 if he believes that there is a sanctionable action. They also request an extension time of 30 days to respond to the motion to disqualify, which require the defense to dispute all these assertions. They note here that they expect testimony from Waylon Huber will be required to address Greer's allegations that contact was improper. Huber initially offered to provide testimony in the form of a declaration so that no live testimony would be required, but he later backtracked, and defendants now believe there is no feasible alternative to live testimony. This testimony will be required in order to challenge Greer's assertions. It's like you're bringing everybody in, Russell. This is what's going on here. You're causing this yourself, buddy. You're saying supposedly we have them. Historians in the future may dispute this. Oh no, chat. So, anyways, this is signed by Matthew Harden. They moved on. Russell then just won't let it go. He won't let it go. Russell comes out. And, he goes, "This not true." Russell supplements this with new misconduct, new evidence. Where's the new stuff? Since you filed it, no. This is because you didn't file it before. It's new misconduct. It says on December 8th, Harden sent plaintiff an email CC'd again to Mr. Waylon Huber. You said he was MH. Why is he now Waylon Huber? What are we doing here, Russell? This doesn't work, man. Despite having no legitimate reason to involve him. And it says, plaintiff referenced Huber in prior filings only to show that Harden had previously contacted Huber during the Winnemucca public records matter. Well, but you keep bringing him up. In response being CC'd by Harden, Huber immediately wrote, "Russell, you know that I have nothing to do with any of this. Please leave me out of it." This statement makes clear that Huber has no involvement. That could be a lie. Huber doesn't want to be contacted. Tough shit. Harden's conduct is causing real harm and distress to one involved parties. That's, oh well, you brought it up. Matthew Harden will continue, says you keep bringing him up, Russell. I may have to keep naming him as a witness. This is a coercive tactic. Well, suffer, Russell. Threatening to designate an uninvolved private citizen as a witness solely because of the filed motions violates Rule 4.4. You can't use means with no substantial purpose other than to burden a third person. You brought it up, Russell. This all violates Rule 8.4 and also 3.1 and 3.4 and proper witness stuff. So he says the improper contact. Well, the incident is not isolated. So what is Matthew Harden doing? Unwanted contact, harassing individuals, and attempting to inflict real-world harm outside the litigation. Well, you do that yourself, man. And then Harden explicitly tied this threat to Russell's filing activity. The more you do that, well, yes, the more you do that gives him more ammunition. This constitutes coercion and direct interference with plaintiff's right to petition the court. Your AI is not doing very good here, Russell. It's not doing spacing well. And they point out, once again, Russell's trying to show this new stuff here. So, this is Matt, notice he doesn't have the full thing here because we don't have Waylon Huber's email stuff here. Good job, Russell. But anyways, this is from Matthew Harden to Russell Greer CCing Waylon Huber. He says, "Russell, I've not yet named Huber as a witness. As you continue to bring him up in filings, you are creating a situation where I may need to name him to defend against the accusations you keep making." He says, "I'm not telling you what to do. You can make your own decisions as to whether you want to keep mentioning him. But the more you do that, the more likely it becomes that I will have to name him as a witness." Yeah, very true. Very, very true. And Russell just fucking losing his mind over all this. Russell just losing your mind. And Russell responds and says, "Sir, why are you acting like this? This is not normal. You only reinforce you need to be disqualified. He does not want to be involved in the case. I only mentioned it because you were snooping around in Winnemucca and contacting people not related. I am asking you kindly, remember, Russell before it said, fuck off kindly, to stop. SOTP. STAHP. Stop. Oh. Yes. Let's see here. Oh. This is just a quick pointer by Matthew Harden. He points out some stuff here. There's notice here that so what happened? Russell served his motion at 12:39 Eastern time on December 8th. The defendants filed a motion to strike on December 9th. Shortly after that, at 10:39, Russell filed what he styles as supplemental notice. And they're confused because it's facts that were already available in the original filing yesterday. And his file would effectively two opening briefs in support. Yeah. So they say because Russell continues to attach edited and incomplete correspondence, we again attach the complete correspondence. So this is just Matthew Harden pointing out this is a fucking disaster here. And this is the problem here. So this is Russell's response here. When Russell starts accusing people, he just points out, he says, as I predicted might happen, Russell. Russell, we are. You have now made Wayland Huber an indispensable witness, and I need his testimony to respond to your claims. And remember, Russell, you said you destroyed your friends and hurt your friends. Well, now that's what happens. And then Russell says, I'm asking you kindly to stop. That's the last one Russell showed. But now he gets up here and Harden responds. Unfortunately, whether you or a witness wants to be a witness is irrelevant. Anybody with relevant information must be disclosed under Rule 26. If discovery reopens, any individual knowledge will also be subject to a subpoena. There's an entire body of law regarding compelled and hostile witnesses. As a trained paralegal, I'm sure you're familiar with that. Ooh. And I agree that it's very unfortunate that you listed Wayland Huber as your business partner in an email and a filing with the Nevada Secretary of State during a time you falsely claim to be impoverished, but also to have sufficient financial resources to build and or buy a brothel. And sadly, that means Mr. Huber has information we need. I wish it were otherwise, but you've made it unavoidable. You went even further, accusing counsel of wrongfully contacting him. He's thus now is not a witness for the business dealings, but also to rebut the false accusations about the sanctioned conduct. So ultimately, he says, perhaps this is why you should think before you file things, rather than afterwards. It's always easier to avoid creating a mess than it is to clean it up. Thanks again for reaching out, Matthew Harden. No. There we go. Oh. Pink highlighter. Well, it reads better with these other colors, so just suffer. Oh. And chat, notice all this shit just keeps on piling on. And then immediately, what does Russell do? Russell goes, it's not true. True. Russell immediately jumps back in. Oh, he does a motion. He has a response to the motion to strike. Russell's saying this is not a Rule 11 motion, but you called it sanctions. That kind of means it's sanctions. We go off of what you say. On the contrary, no monetary sanctions are sought. That sanctions could be multiple things, Russell. All kinds of punishment. The safe harbor rule only applies to motions that explicitly seek sanctions. Remember, punishing a party, removing a party, those can all be sanctions. All kinds of things can be sanctionable. So that doesn't matter. The plaintiff never tied police action to settlement. I think he did. You know, in the emails attached as Exhibit B, all Russell has said is, "You are insane. This is why I'm pursuing criminal charges against you for stalking." There's no mention of settlement or negotiations. Russell was referring to stalking conduct, including parties such as Waylon Huber being contacted. Russell ultimately pursued a protective order in this court instead of filing a complaint, but both are legitimate responses to an ongoing harassment, not a litigation tactic. And they say since Hart had filed a pseudonym motion, Kiwi Farms users have ramped up their stalking of me. Russell's figuring out how to press charges against the John Does who have been stalking him. Hey, you're not going to, Russell, but let me know how it works. I'm assuming that Russell knows what the word sanction means. No, but I'm just pointing out that words mean things, Russell. Plaintiff can ensure that if Hardin issues a retaliatory, unprofessional, what's it retaliating against, Russell? Against Waylon Huber, plaintiff will escalate this matter to the Virginia State Bar. That's a little bit unethical conduct the way you're phrasing that, Russell. However, if Hardin continues to misuse litigation powers, plaintiff will be left with no other recourse. Ooh, buddy. Ooh, buddy. I guess. I don't know. Yes, wait, will you be going to prison? Maybe, stalker child. Oh, plaintiff requests a court permit correction or to set a hearing to address the substance of the misconduct. Yep. Oh, geez, chat. Hold on here. Let me see something. Hold on, chat. I need to take a look at this real quick. I will be 1 second. What the heck is this? So, oh, all right. Never mind. Not worry. Okay, whatever. So, they say he's relying on a procedure rule does not apply. Yeah, no, it's the unethical conduct is not a Rule 11 sanction. I mean, it basically is, though, Russell. Sign Russell Greer, my left foot. They say Huber is not a witness. Plaintiff had prior online contact with him and met this person once earlier this year during a visit to Winnemucca. So how is he your friend? Huber has no knowledge of Russell Greer's creative works. Copyrights are an issue before the court. They've created an embarrassing and unjustified situation that serves no purpose. I mean, I don't know. Does it, Russell? It's not clear. So Russell again, he then files like this was what day was this here? 12/9. So on the 10th, guys, like I said, this just keeps going and going and going. This just doesn't stop. It just keeps escalating and escalating and escalating and escalating. Like this has barely been a little more than a week and a half, and Russell just keeps on going. He files another motion. And this just, I don't know how he keeps going like this. Oh, I haven't turned the camera off. Sorry, chat. Oh, what is this here? Hold on. Okay. So it says this is Russell Greer's attempt he wants to remove the strike. They want to strike the witness disclosure. Well, it's not official. You can't strike it, Russell. It's a private. It's not documented on the record. The witness disclosure hasn't been filed. You were just notified of it. So You can't really strike it, but okay. The disclosure fails to comply with Federal Rule 26A1A and appears retaliatory. There's no testimony relevant to any claim or defense. You claim he's being unethical in all this. He has the right to challenge it. It's a smear party, intimidate a private non-party, insert irrelevant material in the docket, retaliate for protected litigation activity. I don't know about that. But yes, the disclosures must be narrowly tethered to actual claims that cannot be used to embarrass, delay, or harass. But you've accused him of stuff he has the right to defend against. Once again, quit doing this, Russell. But then, yes, once again, he will refer to the individual as WH. But you've already, you've already not done it, Russell. Jesus. Disclosures include those individuals who have discoverable information supporting claims or defenses. Well, you're claiming that he is being unethical. He's allowed to defend that. Now, this is all AI. Just here. Wow. Another AI. Boom. Just Grok is doing his work now for him. And it says that the testimonies are relevant. They have claims of the LLCs, the real estate interests, finances, and past social and professional relationships. He also has knowledge of the interactions with Matthew Harden. Further, Greer only met Waylon Huber once in person. I almost called him Waylon Harden. Oh my God. So how does that work then? He's your friend, I thought. Defense counsel found Huber in an email from a public disclosure he did. A mirror CC in an email. Yeah, that's why you have to be careful in public documents. The emails demonstrate a retaliatory motive. As Harden wrote, as you continue to bring him up, the more likely it becomes I will have to name him as a witness. The statement admits it was in response to plaintiff's protected filings. Which protected filing? Courts reject this type of coercion. Moreover, the defendant's logic is flawed. Based on that admission, Joshua Moon's family and friends, a fair game. We're citing the Ethan Ralph provisions. It's fair game to call as a witness regarding the running of a stalking website. But you said there's no witnesses. You said you had no witnesses, Russell, so it's done. Doesn't matter. But they point out here, disclosure of Waylon Huber serves no litigation purpose. Well, you've accused Matthew Harden of doing stuff. He has to. The filing is scandalous. That's just your summation there. And it says a note regarding disqualification. This is a one-off mistake. Yeah. Just documented pattern of boundary violations. That's a self-report. So I love how prohibited defendants from naming Mr. Huber. But you don't... Russell, if you're trying to do his name abbreviated, you don't list the last name. That's like not how that works. That's like if I named you RG and only went by your initials, but then I said R. Greer. No, because that's what identifying means, dude. Come on. Sign Russell Greer, my left foot. Like, oh my God. Is it just ridiculous, man? So this exhibit, Russell Greer says, this is once again getting to all of this. Russell Greer scratches it all out, but it's already been in other places. Also, you're saying his name is Waylon Huber and he lives in Winnemucca, Nevada. That's enough to find somebody, Russell. That's enough to find somebody here, dude. Like, that's easy enough. That's easy enough, man. And then once again, you leave him listed. Once again, you leave it listed, buddy. Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why do you do that? You could also read through the shitty paint job. Well, I'm pretending you can't. And, like, you kind of can, you kind of can't. But, yes, Russell, you should do a better job of all this if you're going to redact. You know, take your finger and really rub hard. Oh, my God. This is just... Yeah. Yeah, this is just... Yeah, fair game! Yes, fair game. But this just keeps going, guys. Keeps going. So ultimately, Matthew Harden says, this is great. If we're going to do this, Russell agrees, hey, let's set hearing dates. Let's go ahead and set some hearings. They're like, let's do this. Russell agrees to set a hearing. Let's do this right now. And the court doesn't need to address the issues of whether witnesses are done. We've already covered this, though. Although Russell, they said, however, Greer expects the court to address the substance of misconduct without testimony from Waylon Huber. And Matthew Hart has the right to challenge that. He has the right to defend himself. Huber is publicly identified as Russell Greer's business partner in documents authored and signed by Russell himself. And the defendants now believe that based on YouTube videos from another witness, Natalie Banks, Huber was specifically sent by Greer to recruit prostitutes to work for him. And this will show the allegations of poverty were untrue and dismissal is mandatory under the statute. Yes, because Russell Greer lied about being poor. So, the nature of the communications with Mr. Huber will show the undersigned counsel did not act inappropriately, but simply explored all valid avenues to defend his client, yes. And it says Russell Greer does, in fact, oppose the motion to strike. Russell Greer says he does not seek Rule 11 sanctions and should not be required to follow those. Unfortunately, the opposition to the motion to strike is inconsistent with the relief he actually seeks. Russell Greer's motion to disqualify contains the word sanction on 4 separate occasions. Which, it's important when you say the word sanction. Well, Russell's sudden change is about face, which, once again, Harden, that is just brutal. You include that. Indicating he doesn't seek sanctions despite expressly seeking them. It's referred to as a sanction. And it just keeps going. Oh, I'm sorry. It keeps going here and just what he's doing. And they point out that this is a thinly veiled motion for sanctions, and it ought to be stricken unless Russell Greer complies with Rule 11, meaning the 21-day rule. Because Russell Greer agrees the hearing is necessary and does not dispute the need for an extension of time, that relief should be granted if the court does not strike Russell Greer's motion. Yes, Russell did not oppose it, so it's like, we can challenge this. This is just so ridiculous. This is so ridiculous. This is just so absolutely gooberish. That's actually so gooberish. The next thing here filed by Matthew Harden goes on. It was filed yesterday, and it's like, once again, this is just beating a dead horse now. Kind of going through more of what Waylon Huber is or is not doing. It's like, we're not going to sit here and do this one just because it's just more just why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? This is just kind of getting out of hand. This is getting out of hand here, chat. This is getting absolutely out of control. And we don't need to see that one. We don't need to see that one. And then Russell, it's just, oh my God, you guys. I told Matthew Hardy, because he was asking me about something, and I said, look, man, I don't know what more else you can do here, but Russell has completely, the cheese has slid off his cracker all the way at this point. I don't know what he's going to do, and I only think it's going to spiral from here. And we're probably going to get, I think I told Matthew he almost needs to ask for what happened in Acer Thorne's case and just stop everything until the court can get involved. I think that's kind of where we need to go here. Just stopping this and forcing the court to deal with a bunch of this stuff. But also understand, look what happened in Acer Thorne's case. It's just been sitting forever and ever and ever, which is not what anybody wants. Not what anybody wants here. So it's what exactly are we going to do? And I understand that's a problem here. I understand that's a problem. But that was just something I had an idea of. Yes, just taking a breath. Yep. Yes, and breathe deep. Yes. Professor Esquire says show feet. No. No, I'm good. I'm good. says, Tim B says, don't you know how long it took Russell to get the magic marker off the iPhone? Oh, no, Chet, that's awful. That is awful. Oh. Yes, SOTP, stop, as quoted by the Dr. Reverend Robert L. McKim Sr. So Matthew Harden also filed another document, and yes, this is an interesting one. It's like, Judge, look, please just, can we get over this? The motion filed at 3:50 is fully briefed and ripe. That was on July 31st. Russell opposed it. The reply was done. No hearing is requested. The motion at 3:13 is fully briefed and ripe for a decision. That motion was filed in May. Russell filed a notice of supplemental authority, but never opposed the motion, request a hearing on it. And they're just like, Judge, can you please make some decisions? We need you to kind of do your thing here. We really, really need it. You know, we really need that money. We really, really do. We need that money. It's like, we really need these motions. We really, really do. We need these motions. It's very critical. I mean, like, let's get this show rolling. And I don't think that there's nothing wrong with telling the court, like, can you please do something? Can you please just do it? I mean, that's easy enough. It's easy enough. All right. So Russell responds to the witness to strike disclosure, and we're almost getting to the fun part, chat. We're almost getting to the fun part here. You know, Russell's again crying about the coercive purpose here. And Russell is once again beating a dead horse. You know, Hardin's trying to warn you about things, but he says, as you continue to bring up my filings, the more likely it comes, I'll have him as a witness. And, you know, he's saying this is all retaliatory and it's an improper and coercive purpose. Yeah, it's not. Waylon Huber is an uninvolved third party who expressly objected to being dragged into this. That doesn't matter. How do we know? But now you've brought him in because you're claiming Matthew Hardin broke the rules. Russell just keeps going here. He says, further discovery is stated. It's interesting the defendants moved to sanction plaintiff over any misunderstanding of the rules, yet they act like the rules don't apply to them. No, they're just going after you, Greer, because you're a tard. And notice, this is Russell right here. This is AI 100%. Post hoc theories of relevance cannot cure a coercive disclosure. Russell, you did not write that, you son of a bitch. Like, come on, man. That is actually very well, like, I like that. It sounds powerful. It sounds good. Oh. And this here, too. A disclosure must stand or fall on whether at the time it was made the individual is believed to possess discoverable information. There's no way, Russell. There's no way you did that. Further, the IFP is irrelevant. I mean, is it? Man, I don't know. He paid the filing fee. It's not a defense of copyright. Well, we'll see. We'll see. So once again, this is an abuse of discovery. Wham, 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 wham. Hi, guys, I just can't keep reading his nonsense. Accordingly, disclosure should be struck in its entirety. The hookers say mean things about me, says Russell. Say it again, Russell Greer, my left foot. Once again, this is just rehashing all the stuff we've already seen, you guys. We've already seen these emails. Once again, this is what's going to get Russell in trouble. He keeps on refiling the same exhibits. Like, this is actually kind of bad for you, Russell. I would really, don't keep doing this. It's a stupid thing to do. It's a stupid thing to do. That is, like, I would never recommend that. Because you're basically, like, at the point you just keep on, like, I just never would do it. I just never would do it. I don't think that's the smart way of handling this. But once again, Russell, you handle it the way you think it needs to be handled, man. I'm just here for the ride. I'm just here for the ride. Now this gets to the fun one, chat. Number 1, 411. Not 311, but 411. So the motion to strike Rule 26 witness disclosure is Natalie Banks. Russell says, this is a copyright infringement action. The disclosure of Natalie Banks is improper, irrelevant, and abusive. There's no knowledge of any copyrighted work, no knowledge of alleged infringement, no knowledge of damages, and no knowledge of any defense recognized under the Copyright Act. So he points out that Rule 26 limits discovery to matters relevant to a claim or defense. Witness disclosures for interposed for improper purposes may be stricken. Yeah. And it says Natalie has no relevant knowledge. Matthew Harden's own disclosure that Banks lacks admissible case relevant knowledge. The disclosed topics consist of the alleged reputation and notoriety of Russell Greer, the conduct unrelated to copyright, speculative accusations of luring, personal grievances, and general commentary on Russell's finances and lifestyle. None of these relate to the ownership of the works, the copying or infringement, substantial similarity, fair use analysis, or calculation of statutory or actual damages. I mean, do you really want to go through all those, Russell? Because they won't go well for you. A witness cannot be disclosed simply to testify about a litigant's character. I mean, you would need a citation here. Rule 404 bids this. No, it doesn't. No, it does not. There are times where you can introduce evidence of bad acts and prior bad acts. Like, that's not at all, Russell. They say even if they characterize this, Rule 26 does not permit the disclosure of witnesses whose sole function is to supply character narratives or extrajudicial stigma untethered to any claim or defense. And they say this is harassing and violates Rule 26G. Does it really, Russell? Does it really? They keep going here and they talk about how this is not, this is all garbage here. And we get to a funny, the screenshot confirms he took this photo last Saturday to reconfirm the block. If she had blocked him, her profile would say user not found. This fact alone, Banks is an incredibly dishonest individual trying to insert herself into this litigation for harassment. And here, it said plaintiff truthfully did not remember who she was when the defendants disclosed her. Like, really? Really, Russell? Nobody believes that. Press X to doubt, chat. Press X to doubt. I don't know if you can hit that button, how hard you can hit it, but hit that button, chat. X to doubt. X to doubt. So he goes on, he cries that discovery was stayed. Yes, but you're allowed to provide the information in the meantime. Guys are all Xing it. Thank you. XXX. Yes. So they also say the pseudonym confirms impropriety. They seek to shield a witness behind a pseudonym while advancing inflammatory allegations. The defendants want to inject stigma without accountability or evidentiary scrutiny. Well, I mean, you can depose her, Russell. Got to pay for it. But you can do all that. You can put her on the stand. I'm not sure that'll go the way you want. I'm sure you'll be like panicking when that happens, but there you go. Courts should not permit anonymous witnesses to testify solely on reputational smears and unrelated litigation. No, but they allow anonymous witnesses to speak. Yes, they can. So anyways, Russell wants us all stricken. Preclude defendants from using testimony, declaration, or exhibits from Banks. It's like the one claim Russell wants where he wants nulls a settlement demand to ban from the farms from ever appearing on screen anywhere on the farms. He wants Russell Greer's stuff just so it's like gone. It's like, no, Russell. So this is so funny, though. It's so funny what he does here. He says this concerns copyright, not character. You brought character into this, Russell. The disclosure should be struck. Signed, Russell Greer. What? So this is just, it's ridiculous. And once again, these are reciting emails that we've dealt with before. These are all the same ones we've seen before. And once again, he's trying to keep Waylon Huber's name out of stuff, but he keeps the name everywhere you go. Which, once again, why are you doing that, Russell? It makes it hard for anybody to take you seriously at that point. Come on, man. Oh, here's Natalie Banks' YouTube page, guys, if you're going to look for her. Talking about her stuff. This is Natalie Banks, Nevada. And, yeah, there you go. There you go, chat. Yes, it's nom de plume. In this case, it's more like a nom de guerre because we're fighting in the Great Retard War. So Natalie Banks has her fighting name because it's like she's joined the Foreign Legion at Kiwi, so she has to fight under an assumed name now. So Matthew Hardin responded with a declaration to council. We're just going to go through this real quick. Oh, fuck. I got to fucking take care of this so he doesn't fucking cry. Hold on, guys. All right, there we go, chat. Sorry, I had to fix this. All right, here we go. What is this? Well, this gets interesting from Matthew Hardin here. He lays some bombs out. He lays some good stuff down here. He says, I provided screenshots of text messages between Russell Greer and a Nevada sex worker. Those screenshots are from a number that I know to be Russell Greer's. My recollection is Russell appeared at the hearing using that same telephone number, which makes it interesting. The plot thickens, chat. The plot thickens. They also appear to show that Russell Greer used the payment apps Zelle and Venmo to send the sex worker money. And he also indicates that he used these apps to send money to another individual. These text messages were dated during the time period Russell Greer is proceeding in form of harrass. Now, in one message, Russell attempts to recruit a sex worker to join him at an escort agency he was building in Las Vegas, where he says she will be paid more than she makes at a brothel. Russell expressly declares that he will have lots of money pouring in, with which to pay the sex worker if she joins him in his new escort agency. Yeah, it's I'm so totally imagine how that would work. God, that'd be so scary. He says, based on the text messages which I've now reviewed, along with the testimony of Natalie Banks and Waylon Huber and other information in my possession, I believe the defense can now make a strong case that Russell's allegations of poverty were not true. And that said, even if the allegations of poverty were untrue, dismissal is mandatory. Even though you can later show up and pay filing fees. Yeah, okay, great. We're still done. And rightly so. So they say, proving the allegation of poverty untrue will likely require an examination of Russell Greer's payment activities on Zelle and Venmo during the relevant time period, which means, oh, man. Uh-oh. Yeah, Russell probably tried to pay for the hookers on Klarna. Oh, no. And he says, although I can now show payments to one particular sex worker and possesses Russell Greer's admission in writing, he used the same app to pay someone else. I believe Russell Greer's statements in text message and social media. He's also paid other sex workers using the same apps during this time period, which, Jesus, Russell, come on, buddy. Don't make it easy for them. It says evidence of all payments will collectively show far greater expenditures than evidence of payments to one particular individual. Okay. And it says, I believe in my research and knowledge of federal banking and tax regulations, Zelle and Venmo preserve records of payments made for a period of 7 years. And it says, but older records can be from your custodians. He says, this litigation was in September 2020. Thus, at the present time, it's very likely Zelle and Venmo possess the relevant records from 2020 to the present. They say, but these records will be destroyed soon under the normal records retention schedule. They point out Discovery stayed. It's unknown if Discovery will reopen. Which is funny. It's like the judge's way of saying we're stuck in purgatory. And he says, less than 24 hours after I became aware of these Zelle and Venmo records, I wrote to Russell to demand he preserve the records. Russell Greer declined to provide any confirmation he will retain them. He has to. He has to. And Matthew Harden says, I did this under the penalty of perjury, blah, 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 blah. This is the great part here. This is a good part. So he says, good morning, Russell. That's not good right there. Further to my email of December 8th, I received proof yesterday from a Nevada sex worker, not Natalie, who indicates you used Zelle and Venmo and would send her tips during the time period you were IFP. Your social media hinted you were sending funds to women, which I'm sure, it's not a surprise. But this is the first confirmation we have received. These transfers would have taken place during a time you claimed to be too poor to be paying your filing fees and too poor to maintain records in Utah. Some transfers may have been taking place contemporaneously with your unsuccessful efforts to stay the Utah case to obtain counsel. But it appears you did not spend the money on counsel because you're instead paying these funds over to hookers. Yes, because you can't stop having a hooker. Judy says, go to bed. Not yet. We're almost done. He says, please confirm not later than Monday, December 15th, that you're preserving your financial records from Zelle and Venmo from the time period 6 months before your present lawsuit was instituted through today. As we indicated, our possession that these records, when read together your previous filings, will indicate that your allegations of poverty are untrue and dismissal is mandatory. And he says, I cannot presently subpoena these records because discovery stayed, but I believe they will imminently be destroyed due to a 7-year retention period at Zelle and Venmo. If you refuse to provide immediate confirmation for that, I will have no choice but to seek a preservation order and other relief on Monday. Your failure to make a confirmation may also lead to a request that the judge may make an adverse inference with respect to any missing records. Signed, Matthew Harden, please take note. And Russell just immediately comes up with, your repeated statements contain false, stigmatizing, and defamatory accusations. Demands made outside authorized discovery and invasive commentary about my life, wholly unrelated to any claim or defense. Discovery of this matter is stayed. That's why he's talking to you, Russell. And he says, your conduct is now escalated to a point that I am preparing to seek a personal protective order. Well, then go get it, man. Go get it. Hey, come on. Just do it. He says, I deny your allegations, reject your characterizations regarding IFP, and will not engage in further informal discovery or accusatory correspondence. Well, who the hell are you to decide all that? You're not. You are not. You just think it's a recording of Bon Bon? Pfft. Oh. Yes. One for me, one for my hooker. One for me, one for my hooker. All right, guys. So this is where it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop, chat. It keeps going. It's a song that doesn't end. Except now we're on to the last filing. I'm just hiding the chat GPT URL from you, yes. Oh my God. This is another one. This is just Matthew Harden just lowering the boom on Russell Greer again. Notice nothing's happened yet. But yes, Russell Greer told this court a week ago he needed a protective order because counsel because Matthew Harden accused him of using ChatGPT, and he indicated that he preferred Russell wrote it for himself. And it says Mr. Greer's latest filing confirms defense is correct, with Russell expressly cited the ChatGPT in its first footnote. Yes, and that is right here. Where is it? Come on. Right here. What does user not found mean on Instagram? It's a buzz voice thing, blah, 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 blah. Source chatgpt.com right here at the bottom, chat. Good job, Russell. Foxwood says LMAO. Yes, very true. Very true.
You are gay, LMAO.
Very, very true. Very true. Very LMAO. Yes, he kept the tracker. Yes, he did. Yes. So good job, Russell. We appreciate it. And they also respond to Russell's motion without challenging the accuracy of Russell's citations, but note that Russell indeed appears to have outsourced his recent filings to artificial intelligence, and any citation errors will be sanctionable. And this is said Eugene Volokh. Guys, if you ever get the chance to read him, he has great stuff. This dude was like a 15-year-old, went to freaking like Berkeley Law School, and he's like a mathematician, all kinds of crazy shit. He says, if you could afford ChatGPT, you could afford sanctions for filing motions with ChatGPT in it. And it's on the Volt conspiracy, but it's on the reason.com website. It's really good stuff. Oh, shoot. Oh, shit, chat. Hold on here. Sorry, not scroll screen. Sorry. This is the final one, though. We're on the last part of this. So, but yes, pointing out that Russell Greer used ChatGPT on all of this. But if you guys can, look for Eugene Volokh. There you go. Yes, I boomered it again. Suffer. And it says Russell Greer badly misunderstands why Natalie Banks has been disclosed. According to Russell Greer, she's been introduced solely to advance character attacks. And it says Russell Greer's belief is because Miss Banks is a sex worker, she necessarily has no relevant testimony, has been introduced to embarrass him, but that's not true. The defendant, and they've already explained to Russell what knowledge she brings to the table. So they have no intention of embarrassing Russell, but his conduct with sex workers, including Natalie Banks, become relevant for purposes of assessing his core claims. Specifically, he can show that the allegations of poverty in this case, she could show these allegations of poverty were untrue. Additionally, she could show that any ostensible reproduction of Russell's copyrights is protected by fair use. They say she has read Russell Greer's book, and she has an opinion the book taken together indicates that Russell is a dangerous individual. They say Russell himself admits the book involves his restraining orders. They argue that as they've reproduced the book at all, which is disputed, they did so as part of transformative criticism of Russell Greer, an attempt to protect women from Russell's continued violent and abusive behavior. This is, yes, Joanna. Dresden 101 saying, I don't usually watch Sean. Well, thank you for being here. I was checking his channel for the H3 Snark Jannie filing. Will this be available as a VOD on the channel when he's done, or should I run the stream back? You can run it back right now, but yeah, I'll work on getting it as a VOD. So, I'll be working on that. I'll have my person clip, see if my person out there clipping is there, see if they can do that right now, and we'll work on that. We'll make that a separate thing. So, ultimately, they point out fair use is a complete defense. And even if the defendant somehow missed the mark of true fair use, the defendants submit their good faith attempt to criticize Russell Greer would humiliate would militate in favor of damages award at the low end rather than the high end. Certainly, if finding a good faith attempted fair use would be entirely preclude an award, which requires any infringement that was willful. A good faith belief of fair use, even if mistaken, cannot coexist with willfulness. Yeah, you can't. So they want to get rid of the strike for Natalie Banks. And I'm going to point out that it is premature, or is, Russell Greer is legally meritless. And that is it for what we've got so far. But look how bad Russell is going now. No, it's not Ryan, the editor. Oh my gosh. This is just, he is spinning his wheels really hard. I mean, he keeps reciting the same stuff over and over again. That's not going to endear you to a court on top of everything else, guys. That is not a good idea. That's one of those things I will tell you I don't recommend. So. Oh, wow. Yes, he's big and he's mad. All right, we got to get some other stuff up here real quick. Jefferson Post says longer because Denim's CPU clock speed is low. Very funny. Very funny. J-Rock Law has been a member for 27 months. As Sean, get your eyes done. Medical tech is based. Like I said, in the future, maybe. You never know. Never know. Jefferson Post says, could you shoot a radio without your glasses? Yeah. Oh, and useful mistake. You're saying read document 411. Oh, and we're going to open this back up. I think I missed the thing you were talking about here. Because I didn't read all these when they came out. I was kind of just watching them. So let's open this bitch back up. Do I have the... Yeah, no, we got the thing there. We got the thing there. Both things he does. Yes, Sweet Bovine says, good evening, Sean. Hope you're doing well, our sandwich overlord. Of course. Of course. Let's see here. Keopathic says, Null uses Harden. It's super effective. Yes, it is. Harden uses sit still and ignore Russell, and he hurt himself in the confusion. Johan saying, Greer probably tried to pay for one on Klarna. Yes, I'm sure he did. And then Jefferson Post says, no, need my S-Co-op money alone, says Russell. Oh, wow. My guy is clip of 1488, yes. No, I already read it. I just wanted to make sure I got it. I got it, yeah. I can't believe he's doing a 6-hour model stream after this. No, we're not. We're going to be done after this. I'm going to bed. I'm tired. Yes, Russell's trauma lumps have their own... Russell's trauma lumps have trauma lumps at this point. Yes, that is true. That is true. Botto Entertainment saying Russell should settle this how he tried to settle with Taylor Swift, dinner date with Null. Gotta be careful. Gotta be careful. He might accept. You got to be careful because he might accept. He might take you up on that offer, and now you got to do it. It's like they say in Spy Game. You know, when he makes Brad Pitt go up and talk to that lady. He's like, "You've told her now 4 things: you're straight, you like dogs, and you have good taste in clothing." He says, "You've now told her if she's an asset. Those are 4 lies, which now have to be true." Well, if you tell Russell Greer you'll do it, well, now you're fucked if he agrees. So don't do that, chat. Don't do that. Why would Noel want to go to Olive Garden? Because they have... he wants the cheese they put on the salad. Yes. Will there be a Saturday stream? Yes, where you're going to watch... we are going to watch the Tyler Robinson stuff tomorrow. So... show the trauma lumps. I don't. Yes. That's yes. Are there any updates on the frivolous Jay-Z lawsuits? No, those all kind of died a quiet death. That attorney Tony Busby. I don't think there's really been updates yet. I haven't heard anything about massive sanctions or anything. So as of right now, no, there are no new updates. At least ones that I like I said, I'm not aware of anything. So let's see here. Hold on. Why is this not working? Oh, jeez. Why is this? Oh, there. It froze up for a second. Froze up for a second. All right. This seems to represent a shift in mindset for her, and he didn't bring up the fact you can't strike an email. Presumably because the judge just liberally construes Greer's filings to make sense. Yeah, I mean, that's a problem there. That is a problem. Sir Fist says, when is the Afro Man trial? Afro Man's trial, they're kind of like in the stage of doing some motions to dismiss. I'll bring that up real quick. Guys, remember Afro Man, the rapper, his house got raided for some bullshit reasons. He made fun of the deputies that went into his house, and they sued him. They sued him for what he did with the songs about Officer Poundcake and repairing his front door and the lesbian lieutenant. Let's see what happens here. Let's bring this up. I think it's been addressed, but we'll pull it up here. Let's see here. I think this is it. Oh, we've got some depositions too we can go through with this. Oh, wow. Oh, wow, chat. Hold on here. Oh my God, yes, I have full depositions. Damn. I'm going to bring this up so you guys can look at this here. Holy shit. All right. So there was an extended discovery deadline on all this stuff. So guys, remember, at Afro Man, this is down in southern Ohio. Like, this is down in God's country. Like, way down on the river. So what happened? So there was an amended motions deadline. Discovery got extended. There was a motions deadline. There's motions for summary judgment that were filed. There was a judge who recused himself for personal health reasons. So they got a new judge they're dealing with. Judge Hine. I think I've dealt with him once before. He's okay guy. Out of Dark County. Now that's God's. Dark County is in the holler. There's judgment entries. They're doing some motions for summary judgment. Shall be extended out into the new year. So there's summary judgment issues that have been going on. Look at these depositions. All these are, well, some of these are Afro Man. Then there's the cops. And then from there, I wonder if I reached out to his attorney and he was like, I can't talk to you. We're in the middle of stuff. And I'm like, fair enough. The judge's entry each page. There were emails, briefing schedules. Let me see here. Did they set a trial date yet? I don't know. The jury trial is set for March of 2026. So I don't know if that's going to be shown live, but that'd be fun to do. Is it in Xenia? No. Dark County's in no, Dark County's Greenville. So Xenia's in shit, which county? Is it in Montgomery? I forget. No, it's in Greene County. Greene County is not Dark County. Sorry. Do the police have any sort of lawfare fuckery? Yeah, no, this is all fuckery. It's all fuckery. These cops are crying because Afro Man made fun of them. And that's entirely all that's happened there. So, fuck the cops in this situation. They had a bullshit search warrant. They destroyed his house. They showed up with guns. And yeah, they stole money. And yeah, he made fun of them for it. and they got really mad. He made a whole album, and they cried about it. So this is all lawfare. It's all lawfare. And he made a lot of money off of them, too. Yeah. And they stole a piece of his lemon pound cake. Yep. Yes, and that's where Afroman wrote the song, Will You Help Him Repair His Door? Mustoy is saying this happened, 2 years ago? Almost like 3 years ago, yeah. Sellers is saying, wait, he got a final deportation? Oh, come on now. Don't tell me that didn't happen. Radcon saying, is Nate still doing good? Yeah, I talked to Nate last week. He was hanging in there. He just says it's exhausting, from having the surgery, but also now his brain's kind of catching up to operating back to the way it should be. He says it was tiring him out pretty good. So let me see. Let me see here. But anyway, Sellers, what are you talking about? There's no indication they tried to get the removal order. They never did it. There is no final deportation order for that guy. They fucked up on that. So Nate released a new video today. Oh, good. Good. The judge won't allow them to pick him back up, even with the final. That's not true. Where's that at? Send me the link to that. Let me see this. What the hell happened? Let's see here. Oh, so yeah, there's a TRO now. Okay, hold on here. All right. Yeah, let's read this. Okay. So the judge granted a TRO. Okay, fine. Well, he's still getting fucking afuera here. So I don't know how this is going to work, but also it's really suspicious. He's Salvadoran. He's wearing a Chicago Bulls thing. He's never been to Chicago. That's kind of like, when black kids have Bulls jerseys on and they don't know who's on the Bulls because it'll say Blood's usually, it's because it's gang paraphernalia. Why has he got Chicago bullshit on? I don't know. But let's see if he comes out here and says, ¿Por qué? Let's see. Does he come out and talk? Oh, he does. Yeah.
Injusticia que ha hecho este gobierno. This
morning.
Y ahora estoy aquí de pie frente a ustedes y la lucha seguirá. Yo seguiré de pie, no le bajaré la cabeza a nadie. Siempre estaré de pie sobre todas las injusticias que ha hecho este gobierno.
Buddy, yeah, okay. Anyways, she got a TRO order prohibiting from being rearrested as check-in today. Which, okay, that's horseshit by the judge. It's horseshit by the judge. Yeah, you could really hear the Maryland accent there. Yeah, I know. 14 years can't even speak English. I know. Yep. So she did that because an immigration judge appeared to add a removal order. Well, there we go. We got what we needed. But last night, an immigration judge issued a rare decision saying he corrected an error. What? Well, they did correct it. Yes. So they fixed the deficiency. You gotta go, buddy. Bye. Yeah. So, yeah, he's gonna go. He's gonna go. In her order, Judge Zenit said since the wrongful detention, he has been redetained again without lawful authority. They cannot be squared with the basic purpose of holding him to removal. And yes, the government could have removed him at any time. Well, great. Now we got the removal and she won't let it do it. Yeah. Oh. Well, he should be fucking removed. He'll get a fuered soon. Don't you worry, chat. Don't you worry. He'll be a fuered before we know it. He'll be a fuered. Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, yeah. There we go. There we go. Is he going to Liberia? I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, he's still repping MS-13 with that. I know. It's like, why are you doing that, brother? Why are you wearing that shit? Apparently, you don't have MS-13 on your knuckles, but why are you an El Salvadoran? Why are you a Salvadoran wearing a fucking Bulls uniform, Bulls attire? It's weird. It's weird, isn't it? It's weird, isn't it? I know. I know. So, I was thinking the same thing. Send him to Ukraine. That would be hilarious. Yes. Maryland Salvadoran man deported unjustly. Well, yes. Yes. Oh. So he's going to be private. He's going to privatize housing soon. Nah, I don't give his criminal case is kind of shitty. I don't really care about it. But yeah, no, let's send him. Let's send him. You know, I don't care. Send him to Costa Rica. I don't care that he's not going to, to work in the potassium mines at Kazakhstan. Just get him out. Hunch Dirty Rufus says the sweater arrives on Tuesday. And oh, cool. And did you see that shit about the Gundys? No, but I heard what Fed Electrician said, but yeah, all that shit's scams. Like the idea, none of that, like the idea people don't think it's a scam is kind of preposterous or didn't know what it was. Not really a surprise, really, at this point. Really, in my opinion. So it's yeah. So it's like calling Dennis Rader a Kansas father. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, we'll see there. Debbie says when Nate releases new video, he included a warning he's not trying to raise money, so don't fall for any fake GoFundMes. Yes, guys, do not. Make sure you follow. Like, Nate's not asking for anything, so don't send money anywhere because that scamming shit will happen, guaranteed. What's the deal with the Gundys? It's all about like basically selling fucking emails and shit. I mean, of course it is. It's all like industry promotion and stuff anyway. Like, why do you that's all award shows are? It's all about like promotion and advertising. The idea that people don't think it is, it's kind of like, well, duh. So, yeah, send your money to me instead. Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right, chat. Well, hey, we got done before midnight. We got done in 3 hours. I was impressed. I'm impressed with ourselves. So, that is it for tonight. We are going to go on to mailing list of big currencies forever. Yep. Nope, no models tonight. No models tonight. Guys, we will work on the Tyler Robinson trial tomorrow, or the Tyler Robinson hearings. And no models tonight. I'm going to bed. So good night, chat. I will talk to you guys later. And just remember until next time. These Jannies are fucked. And listening to them squeal and cry just should warm your heart, chat. It should warm your heart. But I will say the right way. Just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. But the Jannies are guilty. They're guilty of being Jannies. Tachyon Black for $2 says N. Correct. Then Radcott Hazard's a new member. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you guys. So good night, everybody, and take care. Crystal says, off to my beach house. Well, you have a nice day. You have a nice day. Good night, everybody, and take care.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. you do, just don't talk to cops. Even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. But please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy?